We got Michael. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here. Much love and respect.
Hey,
Is
Kit.
in the how's it going, brother?
Doing well?
Um, do you wanna jump in, say anything? Do we want to just invite some folks in to kind of answer your question, or
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know I'm actively listening. I don't want to have like, hey, can I ask Michael a question? That's not what this is.
right?
I want to listen to all of you. I want to hear all of your opinions. I want to hear what you thought about what I suggested today as a maybe a future problem. It may not come to pass. It may not ever exist. But I have a genuine concern for everybody else's viewpoint. I'm listening. Everybody that's going to come up and talk, I'm listening to it, and I'm hoping I'll get some interesting feedback from it.
You presented several problems that we're dealing with within this world, dealing with food, energy, water, music, the nature. There were a lot of. I think I'll be as well curious to hear feedback from the community from the impulse of what you've said. You know what I'm saying? Like I think of Michael, I think of within the market as well. I think impulse response, and the community gets to kind of be the response to this impulse that you've had. So I enjoy this as that opportunity, right? So it's like you're the open close, and now we have like a close. You feel me?
All right, let's hear it.
Right on, right on. We'll start with Market Oracle here. We got a bunch of folks here. Pretty please be patient. Pretty please do me a favor. If you have a question, if you have a comment, the comment section is there. We will read the comment. We will push it there to the top as well. We got Jay Winters in his house. Market Oracle, go ahead, jump in. ICT Titan as well. Who else do I have here? I mean, Candace, who else do I have? Josh, I would love. Uh, I need. Let me see if I can't get a little co-host help over here. Um, Throwing it out. Trying anyway. Anyway. We're trying here. Market Oracle, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you, Kate. And I have been looking forward to this space for the past few weeks now. I have been hoping that Michael would about these things that have been happening all around us. And it is really a great opportunity to hear what Michael has to say about all these things. Although he has been upfront about this for almost for many years, but I have some things that I would like to have a light shine on. And if the ICT likes this topic, or if he thinks he has something to add upon that, I would
No,
love
wait. Hold
for
up.
this
Before you
opportunity.
start, you're gonna stay on track and in line with the conversation, right? We're not gonna veer off anywhere. You're going to actually respond to what was just said, the questions that were just asked, right? I'm gonna remind you what we're talking about, right? Like, what would you do if trading were taken away? You recall the conversation, correct?
Yes, of course. I
All right,
I will not
pretty
deviate from the
please. We're not
conversation.
diverting we're not diverting from the topic, right?
I understand. Of course,
Thank you so much.
I'll do what you said. So first of all, the ICD asked about what I would do, or as a community we would do if the trading was taken away from us. So in this age of AI, everything is being taken over, and yes, I actually do believe that trading would be taken off from us. Either this would be forced upon us by, like you said, we have to be professional, or a bunch of guidelines imposed upon us, or there would be the conditions which would make the market untradable, like extreme volatility and accounts getting blown over and over and over. So in these conditions, I do not know, and these are scary times. Truly, these are scary times, and the future is scary as well. So the only hope I do have is getting back to the blue collar job. So just like it said, working in construction or as a repairman, I don't know how long these things would abide as well. But yes, certainly a blue collar job. Although this is scary and nothing can beat the trading aspect of it, either financially or physically. But there is a small amount of hope in a blue collar job. And I don't know where to keep And just like Michael asked, how are you spending your money you're making from trading? How are you going to save it for the when the time comes? Honestly, I don't know because how many options do we have? Crypto? No, I do not trust crypto. Gold and silver, we saw what happened to it, what happened to metals yesterday, and what they are going to do with it, just like Michael said about it. Property, it is already too expensive. We have all type of property taxes, and they have explicitly told us that you would own nothing and you will be happy. So yes, I believe that they are going to take our property from us someday. This is in the last next 5 years. No, no one can afford property right now, and in the next 5 years, I don't believe it's going to happen. It's going to get better. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep cash? Inflation would eat it away, or worse, the digital currency would take over, and you are not supposed to keep cash with you. What is left? Stocks? Are you going to park your money in stocks? Whatever you make from trading? We know stock markets are going to be extremely, it is at a insane level right now. So I don't feel comfortable parking my money in stocks. So I don't know what would happen in future.
I mean, it's you
And
make a great point, and Market Oracle. I want to jump in here real quick. And add, and it was talked about previously. I mean, I'm not sure if everyone understands. We had a black market, a black swan event yesterday. I mean, what was occurring in the markets across multiple assets, the explosive parabolic growth within CapEx, within value, within cost, was so explosive, so parabolic versus what happened. And I think it was very good. And I want the community to understand as well. I mean, this idea of taking heed in the metals market. I mean, there are, and I've been at the front of, and one of the reasons why I did not have Trader Roundup yesterday is, I mean, yesterday I can tell you, I am around a lot of folks. There are folks that made a lot of money, and there are folks that lost a lot of money in the market yesterday. And I don't know if people really realize what we're talking about, right? Like, I mean, you could be a very, very well capitalized trader, and you can be positioned in the metals market the way we were yesterday. And if you were not positioned correctly, you could have walked out of yesterday in some serious damage. And I think one of the things that ICT, what Michael has brought to everyone's attention, both from last year within speaking directly to the community, directly to us, within his spaces, within coming here, within sitting at the dining room table, is this volatility is coming. And I mean, I can tell you, I've known Michael since April 18th. It's been 33 months. I went back and looked up through my email, but it's been 33 months since Michael got to meet me, and I got to kind of talk to him about the story. I've known Michael for a really, really long time, obviously being a student, but us as kind of a community and the catalyst of coming together and who and what we are, and the sense of urgency. We're talking about, and I can say from personal experience, the last 33 months of really pounding the hammer and coming together with a sense of urgency and trying to understand within the global events that we're dealing with, if you are of sovereign mind, if you have some, you know, protective spirit to yourself as a father, as you know, a caretaker, as a man, then you need to really, really look at the world that we're living in right now. And even these markets, because these markets, as good as they are and as the opportunities they are so huge, that they can also be extremely dangerous, and they're very, very volatile. And again, you can be, and a lot of us are not, but you can be a very well, and I can tell you, I am surrounded by very good traders. You can be a very well seven-figure position trader walking in these markets, and you can lose it all on a day like yesterday. Okay. So I didn't do a trader roundup yesterday, and I want you to know I was around a lot, and I'm around a lot of traders, and we're talking about real implications of what's happening in the markets. And there are some very, very good things that happen, right? But there can also be some very bad things. And if you can slip and fall, and if you're not careful, these markets are unforgiving, and the margin call is not. It comes a knocking. So the sense of urgency, Michael being here, you being here, us, the community coming together, really understanding. I mean, there's going to be black swan events, AKA yesterday. Okay. You don't drop 30% in a single asset class. You don't drop $1,500 in an asset class in hours and that not be considered a black swan. Where did these trillions of dollars go? As traders, as speculators, what? I mean, and we are not feeling the effects of it the way a lot of the real players are. But we get to be players in this market for now. And that's the other great point. And getting back to the point, I apologize, I digress, Michael. But I too love to kind of communicate a little bit here because I believe so strongly in the sense of urgency in picking up the assignment. Why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? I can tell you why I'm here, and that's because over the years listening to Michael has implored us, the community, to step up. He has asked us to do what we are doing right now, to coalesce, to come together. He has asked, we are following the assignment. That's it. We're following the assignment. All of us that are here, that are stepping up, that are here on the weekends, that are listening, to engage, to participate, to provide our 2 cents, we are following the assignment, right? And I get to stand loud and proud and say, yeah, I got the gray beard and I'm doing it too. So anyway, we're here. The conversation is, what would you do if trading were taken
Let me
away?
chime in, Kit.
Yes,
What's
please.
going on? How you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm doing awesome. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Mike, everybody, Pippi, I see you. Man, I think about this all the time, man. I'll speak from a little bit of a lower position. I'm a blue collar guy, you know. I like you said, I fell into trading after watching a few of his videos, and I speak in my household about this. You know, like I'm 42. I just had a 2-year-old. I'm a stonemason by trade, and you got to think it's like, yeah, we're talking about the trading is it could disappear one day, but that goes with stocks also, you know, like essential bulk commodities or soft commodities, wood, you know, we build with all this other stuff. So that's got to all, maybe I'm not completely informed, but that's all got to be included in the stock market, you know, because I know from personal experience, when the market's down, people aren't building houses. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have, you know, work isn't as fast as it is, say, in the summer. Like, you know, you guys know I live in the Cape, and we're constantly building in the summer. You know, when winter comes around and say the stock market's down, or you know, business isn't run as usual, we're not working. We're out. You know, we're out for work, and that was the main reason that I got into this, was to change my daughter's life, bro. You know, change my family's life, try to put me in a position for these kids. You know, and it's like I enjoy these spaces so much, but sometimes, you know, he always says, speaking as a friend or a man, not talking down or trying to, like, you know, be belligerent or argue, but sometimes that space earlier had me like, well, what the fuck am I doing? What am I, like, you know, what happens if this shit goes away, man? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, this shit's changed my
I
life.
mean, that's one of the ultimate fears we have, right? Like that is, I can tell you as someone who's been in the community for years now, that is one of the number one things is what happens if the algorithm doesn't work? Or in this case, what if we're not allowed to trade? What if
Yeah.
trading is taken from you? Like, what do you do? And that's the question. And when you deal with literally the day after a black swan event, if you're not thinking about these things, who are we in the community? What are we doing? And I'm so grateful and appreciative that Michael's come and he's talking about it today. And I can tell you, I did not have a space yesterday. And I can tell you, I was counseling some traders that were dealing with some, some pretty interesting things. Some had some really good gains and others were dealing with some losses. And when you deal with the day like yesterday, you're going to see both. And if you know enough traders and if you work with enough traders the way I do, again, yesterday was extremely, and most folks don't understand this. because they're not positioned in the market like that. But again, if you have 7 figures to your name and you're trading with 7 figures and you were positioned in the market yesterday, you could be nothing today.
Sure.
Nothing. And that's really, 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 really difficult for a lot of folks to understand. And being passionate and understanding about the impactful nature and the violence of the market and how it does not give a fuck about you is what Michael's saying. And really it's this shepherding. It's really trying to come together. And it's like, what are you gonna do? And this is like the worst fear. It's like, I agree. Like, what the fuck am I going to do without the market? But guess what? There's no electricity. Guess what? No market. There's no internet. Guess what? No market. Guess what? You don't have this professional decree of the box that you right now check and you're allowed to do what you do as stated by Michael. What happens when that box is checked? You can't check that box. What happens then? No data for you. No data. Okay, yeah, good luck. Hold your breath. You ain't no institution.
Yeah. And they don't give a fuck either. You can see the whole world. It's like in my household, bro, it's like everyone is blind to this shit. It's like my fiance, we runs her life on like love. Everything's gonna love. Let's just love. Love is gonna fucking solve everything. It's like the world is crumbling around us and everyone is literally it's fucking snow, it's butterflies and rainbows and no one really is paying attention to like what is going on in the world right now. And it's like it's
The contingency plan is the conversation today. That is the question, Jay Winters. I love that you're staying on topic, that you're bringing it up. We do want to bring that conversation to the audience. I got Gordo here, similarly to you, works in the trades, lives in New York. I'd love to get his thoughts and 2 cents on what Michael's questions were. I'd love to hear from ICT Titan, from Chris. We got a big group of folks that would love to come in. I want to hear from all of you guys. Pretty please jump in, keep it succinct, add value, and hand it off. Pretty please. Gordo, you're up.
Hey, what's going on, kid?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I got to Michael's space a little late today. I wasn't taking care of a few things around the house, but he hit a few things that I want to talk about that I myself could relate to. Right? As you know, kid, I met on countless times. I talked about my story and the losses, the amount of losses that I have taken upon myself. I found ICT late in 2019, late 20, middle 2020, during the whole COVID scenario. I was trading forex. I was introduced to forex through a friend, mutual friend. Started playing with my own money. I had over 6 figures in an account. Started dabbling into Bitcoin, playing around. Got caught on the sidelines and I took a a huge loss. Right. I was able to put some money to the side, get into metals back in late 2019. Put some metals to the side, silver, some gold. Found myself in a tight situation 2020 into 2021 during COVID. Was not working at the time. Had to sell all my metals during 2021. And watching this whole transgression of the growth in metals and had to sit on the sidelines, with my bag empty, in other words, right? Makes you grow and think as a man, like, damn, you know, maybe I was prepared. I seen this forecoming. I seen everything that's transgressing right now. And I had the right idea and I knew that this was gonna happen. Because, like I got mutual friends, we go back and forth talking about like, yo, this is not looking good, this is looking this way, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say to everybody, no matter how much you prepare, right? No matter how much you prepare, you got to have some sort of discernment, right? You got to take a step back because you could have everything. You got to take a step back. With don't get caught up in the hype and yeah, 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 yeah. You got to have some discernment. Take a step back. Focus on you. Focus on your family and the well-being of the future, because nothing is guaranteed forever, right? Yes, yesterday was bad. Thursday was bad, but we have not seen anything yet. You know what I'm saying? Like we really haven't seen anything yet.
Well said, buddy. I honestly believe that's the other thing Michael was saying. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, we
yeah,
got a lot more than this was just one, right? Like, we got a lot more, I think, things that are going to happen this year. I didn't mean to interrupt, Gordo. Pretty please jump back in. I just wanted to add or reiterate. I mean, we're just talking about event one right now of
right.
what's been predicted to be a shitstorm.
Yeah,
So we're here. And
yeah.
it's like Black Swan. Woohoo! Wake up, everybody.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is, man, like Michael keeps saying, man, just prepare yourself. Um, you know, make them necessary. Like if you making money, I'm not really making money in trading. Just I'm not making money in trading. Yes, I have a few stocks. Yes, nothing big, right? But I have stocks, and I got a little portfolio that I'm just building long term, right? And I'm hedging myself properly, right? Like I took some shorts in gold. Started last month. And
Yeah, I heard you talk about that
you
too,
know.
bro. You were talking about that a few days ago. So kudos to you for calling that out before the move, for real.
Right, and and that's like I'm not done because there's still a small leg up. There's still more move to the upside on gold, right? Let's
Yeah,
see,
I'm
let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens.
Uh, Michael's. We'll talk more about that
Right,
later. I mean, I will say, and
let's
within my
not
spaces
digress,
in the
right?
future, I trade the commodities and I trade the metals. So I will be talking in the future, not now. I
Right,
will be talking about, and we can engage much further into conversations about the metals and
right.
about the commodities as a whole. Because I think this week was again a proven thing of just the layer of volatility that the commodities offer.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, and I will say this: traders are making and are taking four-figure, five-figure, six-figure trades in these markets on any given day, on any given week. So I want folks to know that these markets are indeed tradable and are really, really good trades, but they can also take from you if you don't know what you're doing. And that's the bad thing, and that's what we all have to be mindful of as a community, right? Like, the opportunity's there, but if you're not careful, then that opportunity can turn into, you know damage. S- Sorry, Gordo, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, bro. I'm just trying to add,
Nah, but you good, kid. But like what I'm trying to say, guys, bro, just if you making money in this, prepare your house, right? Like Michael says, prepare your house, and make long term plans, not just a year, 2 years out. I'm talking about 5 years out. You know what I'm saying? 5 years out. If you get presented with another opportunity to make investments that that in the future they're gonna grow. I mean, we've been trading for a long time. Some of us been trading long enough to understand that there's cycles in these markets, right? So just prepare for what's to come. You know what I'm saying? And this is just from a point of view of a guy that had to sit on the sideline, like I said, for the last three years, now going on four, right? And see everything, go mature into what it has matured to, right? And not able to show anything for it, right? So because of some bad decisions that I have made in the past. So all I'm saying is prepare, get your house in order, and just be careful out here, bro. And I don't think that the market is going anywhere. It's just gonna it just and I also learned something this year, going trading and alongside ICT, alongside the community, and it has taught me that I need to learn when to stop. We need to learn when to stop, right? Because that is the most important thing. If I could read the market and I'm in a market make and buy model from April all the way to October, why do I need to trade anymore? I am done. I should be done for the rest of the year. Sit on the sideline. Yes, opportunities are going to be presented. So I don't need to do it every day. You know what I'm saying? And I thank Michael for that because, he's always taking vacation. He's always taking a break. And if he thinks that I don't see that, I'm seeing that, Michael. And I appreciate you for that. And I love the community. And thank you to all. AK, thank you, kid.
Bro, I love that you make that point because engaging and disengaging with the market, and I think what's been said and what's being said is, and I mean, this idea of mega trades, man, the idea of mega trades, and again, I'm going to speak from experience because I work with very intimately with some traders that again are well positioned in the market, and when you talk about wins and losses. When you have some big wins, you got to know how to just step away and absorb those wins, because you're going to be dealing with some of the worst losses come after your biggest wins. And I'm telling you this from experience. The folks that take wins, like you manifest, you want, you try so hard, you pray so hard that you're going to get from the market what you want to get from the market. And then boom, it comes. You get it. You got everything you ever wanted for the market. You paid for every single mistake you could have ever made. The biggest mistake you can ever make is running back into the market and not taking time off and letting that settle and that dopamine and that and how you feel, because your biggest gains then lead to emotionally you with your ego and it's your ego. It's your ego. It's your ego. And I'm telling you this because I work with traders and I see this every day. I get to experience, I have experienced firsthand, but then you get to work with folks that are going through the same journey you go through. And when you deal with and you're on that journey together, there's just certain kind of milestones, there's kind of chapters to what we do within being a trader in the trader's journey. Michael's done a great job of really creating kind of that pathway for you to take, for you to kind of, I mean, within the trader's journey, you need a mentor. You have a calling. You know that you can do what you want to do. And you know that trading in the markets can offer what you want it to be and that you can realize and become who you want to become, but you don't know how to get there. And you need a mentor. And Michael is that mentor. Michael's YouTube channel is there. It's free. It's 100% available to you, and you can answer that call with your time. And then you come to the community from your own uploads from the YouTube channel, from the source. Then you come here and then you're like, this is kind of what I've coalesced. This is what I've gathered. This is what I've uploaded. And then this is how I'm going to download it. This is how I can explain it. Right. And then within that upload and download of information within the process of the trader's journey, and you understanding that you can't do it by yourself, that you need a mentor, that you need help, and that you're going to go and guess what? You're going to fail. You're going to fail miserably, and it's going to hurt bad. And then you're going to have to come back and you're going to do it again. And you're going to do it again. You're going to have to do it again.
Hey, kid, and also, I'm sorry to cut you off, my brother.
No, jump in, bro. I
Bro,
mean, I'm
gonna
just tapped in. I'm
It,
just
well,
tapped in.
I know many people took losses, right? People took losses this week. This weekend,
Yes,
and I'm gonna
yes.
tell
I
you
know folks
something,
that took
bro.
wins and losses,
And
bro. Both.
I'm gonna tell the whole community right now, bro. This does not define you, right? Fucking muster up the courage, find what you did wrong, and move forward. Because this is where we lose a lot of good potential and traders with good potential. Don't sit in the corner, bowl up and start crying. You know what it is? Go back to your journal, go back to the chart, figure out what you did wrong, and fucking solve the problem. Okay? And that's it.
I love that. Let's keep the ball rolling. Thank you, Gordo, for keeping it going, keeping it flowing. ICT Titan's got his hand up. Joe T's got his hand up. I'm excited to hear from Amir. Pretty please, folks, stay on topic. What would you do if trading were taken from you? What's your thoughts and feedback on the conversation Michael has had with us? Pretty please, come in and give us your thoughts and 2 cents. And I also want to welcome quickly Pippi Banks as a co-host. What up, G? Thank you. And go ahead and jump in, ICT Titan. I know Pippi Banks is busy, so it's no big deal.
Hey, Kit, how are you doing?
Excellent, brother. Excellent.
Hello, Michael. Good morning. And by the way, the topic is really, really, really got my eye because this is a big concern because we know that what corrections looks like, what is a big unusual thing happening. So this was uh, not expected. But again, the Michael who alerted us way earlier, and that if a trader, any trader that who does not give a concern to those things when something is really really going crazy, and we expect we have to have that bias or that expectation of something unusual going to happen. And that just we witnessed on Friday. 30% on silver is not just a small event to look and ignore. As a trader, for us, it's a big thing. And if trading, the whole topic about if trading goes away, what's going to happen? So, in my part of view, what I think is my dad always told me you have to have close connection with God, and that's what I inspired with, and always go with the family. That's our first concern. And as a trader, we know we have a big profits, big loss, and even you also pointed out the thing that when we have a big, huge profits, the next day is our uh, egoistic day that might gonna kick us like, hey, I'm doing great now. I can do anything. That kind of mindset we bring up with the next day. And the next day, if we if trading shows up and tells us, hey, not today, and then we have to stop. That's our responsibility to see, go back, watch what just we did. Yes, yesterday was great, but not always, right? So we have to have stop, or we have to have pause in our over trading, in our anything. That's why the discipline in trading is key, right? So otherwise we would not have been this kind of mindset that we come up in a trading journey. So for us, I think we need to think, analyze before doing any or taking any big opportunity. Just like my one example that I'm gonna put, that
Oh,
my uncle that just I guess 2 months ago he bought gold. And I was like, yeah, I looked through the chart. That's what I can do, right? So I went through the chart. I was like, yes, pretty looking good. And he bought it. And the day when ICT told that, hey, if on silver we're not gonna take the profit right now, it's enough, right? So I called my uncle, and right there, that's it, we're done. And that was a great day. But again, next day we don't come up with that amount to take what's next. No, not like that. We have to analyze things. So that's what I want to put.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Thoughts and 2 cents. That's very good. Let's keep the conversation going, keep it flowing. I got Amy here. I got Amir here. ICT Titan, thank you. That's great. Great thoughts and 2 cents. We got lots of folks here. So I want to say thank you very much for your thoughts and 2 cents. And I'm not
Sure,
trying to jump past, I'm just trying to be inclusive, if you don't mind. Okay.
sure, sure, sure.
All right. So that's all I'm trying to do here, bro. I'm excited. Okay. We got a lot of folks here, and I'm trying to get to other folks, but I don't want to like railroad through your thoughts and 2 cents. But thank you. I feel like you added some value, and we want to keep it going. All right, brother. So, with that said, Amy, if you don't mind, your thoughts, 2 cents on conversation with Michael and the question about what you would do if trading were to go away.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm going to give just a little context. So,
Pretty
um,
please.
I came into trading in 2022, and in 2023, well, and I don't follow very many people on. I came into trading and started trading options, and self-taught and fumbled tremendously, but was having some success. And in the end of 2022, Michael came across my feed. I went on a YouTube and I heard him saying some words like consummate encroachment and words I didn't understand, and I thought, what is this? This is Japanese. I don't know what this guy's talking about, and I ignored it. And then God had his way, and in 2023, he came back across my feed, and I listened, and I started absorbing and learning ICT. Uh, I'm in my 50s. I'm in my early 50s, and I'm a single mom of 10. I
What
have a
up, girl?
10-year-old. I'm a 10-year-old, and gracefully or gratefully have aged gracefully, and I have college age kids. But uh, knowing this, I've had success trading. I just got my 1099 from Apex again this morning. I went full time on futures last year. I'm not a 7-figure earner yet. And I watch Candace. I see the people in the spaces. I'm in a couple of spaces myself that I quietly sit in, doing my thing.
Noise.
And
I
so,
love that. I love how you added yet, by the way. That's like my favorite thing.
and well, it's what you think about, you bring about. And so I greatly appreciate that Michael came on this morning to give this space call and talking to us about, and it's a reminder to me because this is a full-time thing. I have degrees. I have a background in finance and in marketing, and I left the corporate world. And when things happened in 2020 and things shifted for our household, I was looking for something else. And thankfully, trading came across my lap. And I've been on the ups and downs. I'm still on the ups and downs of learning ICT concepts, um, and then sticking to my rules. Um, but if it was taken away right now, and this was the reminder this morning, I'm thinking, a lot of people on here maybe are younger, or they may be in my age. I know several people in one of the groups I'm at are parents and they have kids. This is how I support my son, and we don't have any other family. There is no one else in the world. It's just us two, as far as family and what we would do. And so it's a um, big reminder to be prepared and not be, oh my goodness, this year I want to buy a Land Rover, or I want to take this trip to Disney World with my son, or the things that I absolutely can do at some point, but not before I'm prepared that if trading goes away, because we watched yesterday, and if you were in the market yesterday, you knew those candles were big, and I was trading, but they if it was to go away and halt, and we couldn't trade, and some of us who were in last year, and when the tariff news came out and the prop firms halted us, because I trade prop, they said, hey, the swings are too big. It's gone down over 5%. You're not allowed to trade now today. And that was a rough couple of days. Well, I imagine if they're swinging really big again, we're going to experience that again. And while I have a small buffer, I definitely don't have 9-10 months buffer. And am I prepared food wise? I'm getting there. I've listened to his face calls. There's some of the things I've gotten prepared for, and I think it's a good question to ask. Well, what are we gonna do? Because I, as far as being in your 50s, it's not like I'm going to go enter the marketplace and compete with people at this point, even though I have great experience in my field. What am I going to do to support myself besides getting prepared today?
The
And
daunting task of preparedness is what I'm hearing, right?
yeah, and also to prioritize it, because we do get caught up on, okay, now I want to go to Hawaii, or I want to go to buy this thing, or because you get a little bit, I don't know, numb is the right word, but when you're seeing the numbers come across, you don't think that used to take me a whole entire month to make. And I just sat down in a session at my desk in my home with my 2 dogs and my 10-year-old in the other room, and I got to do that all here and then go about my day. And
We do get numb to it, though. We do get numb
yeah,
to it. Traders, I think it's impossible for a trader not to realize that's what happens over time. And that's why stepping away is so important. That's why having a life outside of trading is so important. That's why I believe the conversation, not only out of necessity of what if there's no power, what if there's no internet, what if there's no allowance, what if you are not actually capable of trading the markets, what else do you do?
right. And I'm not saying this to anybody on here that's newer to give up, or that this is doomsday, but because we don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen, but they've
No,
tested
it's a contingency, right? The whole
right.
idea of wherewithal, I think it is important. The daunting task of preparedness is, I mean, I take that term kind of to heart from the conversation. And that's kind of, to me, that's kind of like the reverberation that's kind of what I'm hearing, even from you, what your response is to what Michael had said, and then even like my own thoughts and feelings from everything else I've heard, right? It really is a daunting task to get prepared, to be prepared, especially if you're not. Especially if
Exactly.
you're not.
Well, and like I said, you get numb to it, and you're like, oh, well, I can just go in this next week, and I can make X amount of money, and we're fine, and the bills will be paid. And but what if it is months, not just a couple of days? Because it was only a couple of days last year when the tariff news came out, where the prop firm said it's gone over 5%. NQ is what I typically trade, and you're not allowed on it today. And you have to say, okay, I'm not allowed on it. Can't do anything with this. And even if you're going in with the smallest leverage, can't come in. And what do you do? I think, starting with the props is getting your own account. And I have a small one building on the side. I haven't traded it at all this year. I've been waiting for the markets to get out of the range and clean up. As Michael points out several times, that prop firms, the mentality is, it's not my own money. So it's like, well, if I lose this account, what is it, 50, 70, $80 to go get a new account is not the same as this is my $10,000 that I just blew because I was in gold or silver and the moves got astronomical in the last couple of days.
And that could happen in 1 minute, right? That could happen in a 15-second candle. That's the crazy thing. I can tell you, if you trade a mini contract on silver on the 15-second chart, that could be, a monthly salary for folks. That could be a lot of money, of real money. So not prop money, not sim money, real money.
Right.
So,
And
I
I mean,
mean,
and they're random. I was watching when I came into chart yesterday morning. Overnight in Asia, there was a candle, I believe, at 7:33 p.m. There was 100 point. I trade 15-second as well. 100 point 15-second candle, and and it was wicked. And I thought, oh my goodness, that that's gonna mess you up in a trade. I mean, not many times are you coming in with 100 point stop, and I always come in with a stop because if I'm not in there responsibly, then I'm being irresponsible to the 10-year-old that counts on me to providing for us.
Can
So
I
so
can I
ultimately,
add something?
why you were trading a smaller time frame is because you're trying to manage a tighter stop, right? Which most folks
exactly.
don't think about. Most folks don't think about. And again, Michael taught that, I think, very, very well. And most folks forget that he taught that. But yeah,
You
I
guys
like
hear me?
hearing him say that. Yes, sir, we do.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to just highlight something that I've been listening for, and Amy's the first one that's actually exhibited it so far. The the concern for your decision making when you're speculating and you're trading the money, it's fluctuating up and down. You can hear the mother, the provider in her. Hear the concern. She's brought her children up, the dependent in her, up as part of this equation that is hopefully going to yield profitability. She has to take in consideration her decision making, how it's going to impact her children, her son who depends on her. So that's exactly what I was trying to tap into when I was talking on the space of my own, because I I don't think even still the majority of you understand what I'm really tapping into until you have children. When you have you have a kid, Amy, she's obviously made it very known that she's got someone she's concerned about, and her decisions aren't just directly related to her pleasure of whatever she wants to spend the money on. She has to be a good steward with it. So I think it's hard for young folks that don't have dependents, children, and it's just them. They can be carefree and reckless, and they're like, "Well, I'll find a way. I'll survive." And I don't want you to be lulled into thinking that way, because if things do get harder, and by all indications, it certainly looks like it doesn't look like it's going to get any easier. So it's good for us to prepare for that. That way, if it doesn't happen, at least we prepared ourselves as best as we could, both physically if possible, and also psychologically. because if you go into the market thinking, well, it's going to be easy, it's going to be an average daily range of whatever the average daily range is over the last of 7, 5 days, 10 days, and then you have a day like yesterday in your market. It may not have been silver, you know, for the next time it happens. It may be the next, it may be euro dollar, it may be pound dollar, it may be yen, it could be whatever you're trading, oil. Okay, if they start dropping bombs in Iran, it's going to cause oil to go crazy. And you don't know when those bombs are getting dropped. You just find out after it happened. And what are you going to be? You're going to be like, well, you know, I knew it was going to happen. I was long crude oil. Here, there it is. And it's easy for us to lull ourselves into thinking that we're so smart, that we're so tapped in, that we know what the market's going to do. We're in a groove. We have that OODA loop. We're in that. We know what we're doing. We know when we're going to do it. We know why we're going to do it. But you have to be aware of the risk. And I'm so thankful, Amy, to hear you talk the way you did, because, yeah, you mentioned the good things about what we can do with the money when we make it. We can go on vacation. We can buy this. We can buy that. But also the risks involved. What happens if it doesn't go my way and I have to still take care of the son? Like, I still have to do this. As much as I want to put more leverage on this trade, as much as I want to try to make more money over here or there, is it still within the guidelines of what I'm willing to absorb as risk, and it doesn't destroy me? I can still come back from it if it's wrong. I just wanted to come in and just make a mention of that, because I'm thankful that you're tapping into that, Amy.
Oh, thank you. That's something that is in the utmost, and it's easy still to not. I mean, not. I shouldn't say it's easy. It's getting better, but it's still easy to fall back into old habits of, well, if I just had X amount on, oh my gosh, that would just have done this for us this month or this year even. Because yesterday was in gold and silver, and I actually had talked this week. I went into silver this last week on one trade, and literally within seconds, I was down $1,000, which I do not usually have $1,000 stop. And I was on this because of how I had come in, because I placed my stop where I believe it should be, if I'm right on the trade, not where the money is. But and then it came back out my way, and it was headed my way, but I was so distraught by how fast it went down in the amount. I just closed the trade, barely above put in profit, and said, I don't want to touch silver. That's too much of a swing.
Yeah, the VIX, if there were a VIX, if there were this volatility metric on the commodities, again, as someone who trades all of them frequently with a lot of other folks who do as well, has been off the chain bananas. And that can be very, very bad and very, very expensive for the uninitiated, the inexperienced.
Right. And that's what I want to, and that's why I wanted to remind that I've been trading for 3 years and I'm still on my journey. I'm not where I want to be, and I still have a lot to learn, but and going back to on the 15-second chart, I have on my other screen, I have the 5 and 15 always up, looking at the 1, 2 before I come in on a 15-second entry.
I love that. That sounds very, very classic ICT of you. Multi-time frame, very, very, very well studied.
Well, because I didn't know until he came on one time and showed he was on a 15-second, and I appreciate that, because my mindset is, if one person can do it, then I can do it. And so then I upgraded my trading view so I could see the second chart, and took a lot of time of back testing and then watching and practicing before I just jumped into the 15-second chart, because
a lot of people talk shit, and rightfully so, because a lot of people who don't know will try and trade it. But once you do know how to trade and you are utilizing the skill set correctly, as taught by Michael, I believe wholeheartedly, when you're managing risk and capital in these levels and these candles, the way they move, that entering into and onto a much smaller fractal is a great way for you to engage into these multi-time frame moves, right? They could just expand into, I mean, you could imagine, and I've done this quite frankly, being on a 15-second chart and expanding into like a daily move at, the percentage moves that you can get within the volatility that we deal with within the commodities. I say that to say that there are windfall opportunities within the markets. And if by chance you get that opportunity, you need to know how to step away. And I
Right.
just want to remind folks of that one more time, because you're going to be dealing with windfall wins as well as losses. And you have to know where and how to kind of calibrate that in the few occasions of a year that they can happen. And yesterday was one of those very few occasions within a year where you're dealing with, again, a black swan. We're dealing with one of these major yearly kind of pivots that we got yesterday, right? And it was a really, really big deal.
Well,
Very, very impactful for some folks in their accounts, right?
biggest move in silver since 1980. 1980. I mean, that should tell you it does not do that.
No, that's called a black swan event. I mean, that's Michael tweeted it. And again, that's the cognizance of being here on a Saturday, the day after. And again, I feel great. And why I didn't do a trader roundup yesterday was I'm still in a very raw space, working with as many traders as I do, dealing with what had happened and dealing with some folks being very happy and other folks being very sad, and really the state of the market, right? That it's a very, very, I mean, depending on what side you were on, a very good or a very bad situation. And days like yesterday are the few times where it's really going to matter, because you're getting caught with your pants down, proverbially, in a black swan event. You don't have that type of movement in that quick of a time on these charts, right? So I
Exactly.
agree, and
And
it's scary, but it's also, again, it can be very, very good. And if by chance you get that windfall, guess what? Step away. Step
exactly.
away, walk away, and be happy and get prepared, right? And then come back and maybe look towards, another position. I really love how Michael talked about and has been talking about with us about the topic of mega trades. You don't have to be in the market every single day. And I'm not saying that we're just sitting here waiting for home runs, but there are times where you could be on the right side of some of these trades. Just like there are times where you can be on the wrong side. And the point is to know that if either one of those occur and you are engaged in that, then there's a pretty good chance you should be stepping away for a period of time to recalibrate from what has just happened. That's what I come back and I'm going to say it and continue to say, because I personally get to work with and I understand folks who were impacted by yesterday. Okay. So, and again, in a positive and negative way. And I'm not talking about a few dollars, okay? We're not talking about a pretend sim, maybe get paid out account. We're talking about big dollars in the market, right?
Well, there were people wiped out yesterday, and it's sad. If you're in this space and you lack the empathy, because when you're winning, somebody's losing, and you got to remember that there's two sides to this coin,
And
always. It's a zero sum
volatility,
game.
volatility is really good until it goes against you, right? Until the margin call is knocking on your door, right?
Exactly, and
I'm just
I love
saying.
volatility until you're in that candle that all of a sudden came down 100 points, but you were right on your trade, but it just knocked you because your stop didn't stop, like Michael says. It didn't stop where you put it. It flushed down and it went larger, and you're like, oh wow, why was I in on X amount of contracts with this kind of volatility? And getting back to his point is just using the discipline and the mindset of, for me, as I've got a family that counts on me to make the best decisions I can every time I click on that button. And I actually have my picture of my son at my desk, and a little he's made a hand print, and it's about an inch by an inch of his hand when he was in first grade, and I keep that there to help me remind me, who am I doing this for? Because it's easy to get caught up in the big swings. But and then lastly, because I know other people want to talk, is just um, this space, because he had said, Michael had done some, uh, definitely in 2023 when I first listened to him, about being prepared. Um, and it was a great reminder for me to get my house prepared, more so that if the markets go down, for a number of weeks or months that we can weather through it.
Excellent point. Excellent point. I love it. And very, very true. Very, very true. We got lots of folks here. I'm loving the conversation. I hope you're loving it too. Thank you, Amy, for your thoughts and 2 cents. We've heard a little bit from Gordo. I got my boy Pippi here. I got my boy Maxor. I got Amir Trades in his house. I'd love to hear from him. Johan had his hand up with some comments. I'd like to hear from him. If you, the listener, would like to engage, pretty please give the space a push it out, pretty please. Give it a share if you don't mind, just so more folks can give it a listen and get to know Trader Roundup. So pretty please, if you're listening, it's up to you. Give us a share. Thank you so much. And we'll keep the conversation going, keep it flowing with hands up. Johan in the spaces. God is good. What's going on, buddy?
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you fine.
Okay, so I don't really get why Michael thinks that they will take the trading from us, because they are profiting of the marketplace and they need us to be on the other side of their trade.
Yes, I agree. And I don't think that it's that the market is going away. It's you being prepared. The extensive wherewithal for what it would take to be prepared for following steps. Not exactly that you're not going to trade, right? Like we are indeed asking that question. And it's not just for you to buck up and say, well, why would they? It's legitimately for you to think, what are the things outside of trading you could potentially utilize within when we think of black swans, when we think of disasters, when we think of things that are happening, when we think of things that are out of our control. Again, a bomb, when you think of the lack of electricity. You're right, the markets are never going away, except you live in a place that doesn't have power. Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? That's the question, sir. So it's not for you to say, well, why can't I trade? Of course you can trade. But what if you can't trade? That's the question. Not are the markets going to somehow go away? They're going to go away for you. Not that they're going to go away. They're going to go away for Johan.
If I may, can
Yes, sir.
Johan, how old are you?
I don't know if I can say this, but either I'm getting 16 in like 5 days or I'm 22.
Oh, I like that. He's 22.
So you weren't around when September 11th happened in the United States?
No.
Okay. So what happened was there was an event that took place in New York and in Philadelphia and in DC. And I kind of really try to get your hands on this, okay? They turned the market off. I was stuck in a trade. I could not get out of my trade. No one else could get into a trade. No one could get out of a trade. It was like that for days. The market would normally open up, but they're not opening the market. So I understand if you're young, if you're relatively inexperienced in terms of life, you didn't see these things happen. I lived through it. A lot of older folks lived through that, even whether they traded it or not. And I'm suggesting to you that because of all the things that's going on around the world, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they disrupt trading like that. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if a small tactical nuke went off on Wall Street? Do you think they'd be able to start trading right away next week? No. No. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying what would prevent it? You can't prevent it. And the idea that why would they want to take that from us because they need us to profit? They already have all the money. They make the money. They print it. They create it out of nothing. So that's the illusion that you've fallen victim to. You think that they need us. They don't need us. They're trying to get rid of us. That's the whole point of the conversation I had earlier. So you need to make your actions, your point of existence is to be self-sustained, not only in your trading, but also in your everyday living. So that way you are mitigating the inherent risks that every one of us has associated with just simply doing the things that is commonly viewed as everyday living now. Everyday living can be disrupted just like that. We learned that in March 2020. And I'm just suggesting to all of you, and especially you were the target audience. You yourself was the target audience. Someone that was very, very young, inexperienced. You might think you know something, but you don't know anything. They turned the market off. They turned it off. The stock market didn't blow up. That didn't happen. But they would not let anyone trade. They would not let someone put a new trade in. You couldn't get out of your trade. You couldn't add to your trade. You couldn't take a partial. You couldn't do anything but worry and worry and worry. What's going to happen? Where's the market going to open up at? Where's it going to open up at? Worry, worry, worry. How would that impact you with your current trading today? At the level of trading that you're trading with now, the leverage that you're trying to use or actually are using, whether you're trading prop or whether you're trading actual cash accounts, what would it do to you? How would you deal with that? Because everything that's going on all around the world is indicating that we're on the verge of seeing something that's going to disrupt the last bastion of free enterprise, which is trading. Am I saying that trading goes away entirely? Absolutely not. It came back. In 2001, it came back. But it was skittish. People were scared. The markets weren't booking the way they normally would. People were just hands off. They were just basically liquidating. They're like, I got to get out of this. I don't want to touch it. I lost money. I had no way of getting out. I lost money. And I couldn't save myself from that situation. I didn't see it coming. That September morning was a beautiful sunny day. Took my son to public school, dropped him off, came home, literally looking around saying, man, it's such a perfect day. It's so pretty. Not knowing that one of the buildings had already had an explosion. Come to the door, the second one happens right on TV live. Everything changed. The whole world changed because of what happened in a place in the United States. Oh, you Americans, you think everything revolves around you. No. The puppeteers make everybody feel like Israel's the major problem. Palestine's the issue. Russia and China's the issue. It's them spinning the narrative. They can make anything and anyone seem like the main player. And it just so happened, September 1st, we were the main player. And it shut down everything. Every airplane grounded. And you think that this is out of the ordinary with all the things that's going on, all the crazy town level stuff that's happened in the last 6 years. You can't reason with them potentially causing a small disruption to what everybody's doing. Think about it. You ask anybody on the street, name somebody that's making a lot of money. Oh, there's people trading in crypto. There's Bitcoin traders. They make all kinds of money. The common average everyday person. The reason why I was also telling all of you guys to take profits on silver is because I listen to these YouTubers that are just average homesteaders. These people, they're not traders. They don't think about like we do. We work every day about trying to figure out where the market's going to go next, how fast we can make money from it. These people don't think like that. And they're on their own channel saying, oh, it's going to go to 500 silver. It's going to go easily 10,000 in gold. As soon as I hear that, Dabu77, whenever I hear that stuff, that's it. It's done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And look what just happened. So when the average person shares their opinion and it's weighed against somebody that's been doing it for their entire adult life, 3 decades, and there's an arm wrestling match between somebody like that, who are you going to put your money on? Who are you going to put your money on? You're going to go with your hunch, your limited experience in life? You don't understand the machine. These people don't need us. They don't need us. They're already billionaires. They're billionaires on top of billionaires. They don't need anything from us but to get out of their way. We're a nuisance to them. We're useless eaters to them. That's what you don't understand. You don't get that part. You think that these companies, these conglomerates, they need us to make money. They make money off of us by controlling us. Everything we buy and consume is bad for us. But they sell it to us on a commercial. Oh, look at this. You got a problem with your skin? You guys, here, take this drug, blah, 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 blah. You're going to have all kinds of, you'll live life. And these people are happy. You want to date that guy. You want to date that woman. You want to go out with them. They're attractive. They dress so good. They look so happy. And then you got to listen to the fine print. You're probably going to die. You're going to have health problems. Your heart's going to have failure. You're going to get liver cancer, and you're going to go blind. But you'll forget about that because you're looking at the label, the packaging, the marketing. But they warned you. They warned you. They told you up front, you take this drug, we'll fix your skin, but we're going to kill all your organs. So you have selective hearing, just like that space I just gave. Just like right now, I'm talking to you one-on-one. And it's probably going in one ear out the other because you're like, I just don't get it. I don't see it. But look at what happened in the last few years. In your short time on this spinning rock, have you ever seen anything like that before? Or seen anything like that mentioned in history? No, you haven't. And that's all I'm asking you to do, is consider the probabilities of something unforeseen disrupting the ability for us to do what we do as a business. We run businesses as traders. And are you having some kind of protocol, some kind of mitigation, whatever it might be? I don't know what it would be for each of you, but are you doing something to at least put a buffer between you and harder existence, getting through daily, if you're not getting any more money out of the market for a period of time, how are you going to make ends meet? That was the whole point of me talking today.
Okay, but would you think it would be better if somebody exposed them? Like if somebody would lay proof and everything? Because that would cause a lot of chaos. But at the end of the day, maybe it's worth it. What is your opinion?
Did you listen to the entire space I did?
Yes.
I said that they're literally doing everything in our face right now.
Yes.
They literally are mocking us. They're laughing in our face. They're literally stealing elections. Presidents are going up there doing illegal things. Dude, we're going in other countries, stealing their commodity and then putting it in their personal bank accounts. And the people that voted for him think there's nothing wrong with that. That's lawlessness. That's lawlessness. You got people kicking in people's doors. We have a right. We have a right. You can't just come in my house without a warrant. You can't do that. I don't give a shit who's in the other side of that door. You don't have a right to come in. Have a warrant. But people are saying, yeah, fuck the Constitution. Fuck our Bill of Rights. We got to do everything to be safe. Just the same bullshit that they spat out on September 11th, 2001. I was ready to bring up everybody. Make the Middle East a fucking parking lot of glass. That's exactly what I wanted to see happen because they said that's who did it. I was all in. Let's nuke the shit out of those assholes. Let's get rid of all of them. I bought the bullshit when it first came out. I bought that. I believed the bullshit. They, at this point, they don't give a fuck. What you think, what you believe, they don't care. They don't care. It's right in your face because what are you going to do about it? They've already proven you can't vote them out. You can't do shit. You can't do shit. So what are you left with? How can I shore up my own house the best way I can and live a gray man lifestyle? That means I'm not going to go out there in the streets and draw attention to myself. I'm not picking a side. My side is my fucking family. My side is who is dependent on me. That's it. I could give two fucks about what these fucking politicians are doing because I can't change it. I'm not voting for them. I'm not giving a fuck about what they're doing. I just know that as long as I have a buffer around me, and I'm not trying to cause static, I'm not trying to get outside of my fucking lane. All I'm trying to do is talk some common sense to all of you because it's so easy to get wrapped up in everyday living and either become so scared and lose your mind over like people still riding around with diapers on their fucking face with the windows rolled up in their car. They're the only people in the car and they've got a mask on their fucking face. What are they hiding from? The fuck are they doing? They're warped because they bought the bullshit. And that would have been me in 2001. That would have been me. I don't think that way anymore. I see what it is. And you're talking about, well, maybe somebody's exposed them. They've been exposed for years. But nobody gives a fuck. Even now, you see it who they are, and people just don't give a shit. Yeah, go ahead. Put these guys out in the street. Yeah, there's some bad people here. They're doing illegal shit. But fuck the Constitution. Fuck the Bill of Rights. Let's just go into everybody's house and snatch people up. Really? That's where we're at right now? That's where we're at? Every one of these fucking fraudsters should be locked the fuck up. Absolutely. But there's got to be a way of doing it within the realm of law.
To
So
your
when you
point,
say that there's
sorry, Michael. I was going to say, to your point, though, the Luciferian control and like just the good versus evil. That's where I personally think all of this is where we have to, as humans, we have to choose a side of being good, not left or right, but we have to choose a side of being good versus evil. And like, I love spending the time with you because I know we are aligned in talking with each and every person, not about left or right, not about good or bad, but really, really about good versus evil, right? Like, there's a lot of very powerful evil things in this world, and we stand against that, right? And we're trying to just strum the attention and getting people to really understand that they need to take control of their own house and they need to pay attention to what they do have control over. And that sense of urgency is very, very real for us. And we just, as fathers, as human beings, as folks, want to utilize our voice and our microphone to let people know, right? And I value and appreciate you, Michael. And I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to build on what you're saying, brother, because I pick up what you're putting down, right? That's it.
all of us have insurance. You may have health insurance. You have home insurance. You got renter's insurance if you're renting, because it's many times leasing agencies require you have to have that. So that way they're covered in case you burn the place down. And car insurance. Now, we don't pay for that so we can go out and use it and do claims against it. In fact, we're hoping we don't need to use it. I'm asking all of you, do you have a insurance policy that you yourself are going to cover? Nobody else is covering it. It's CYA. Cover your own ass. Are you in a position right now where you're wasting your resources, you're wasting your fucking time trying to get people to love you on the internet, and you're making money, but you're doing all the wrong things to get clout, attention, dopamine drops, and oh yeah, hook me up to another dopamine drop. I'm gonna get worshipped online today. Someone's gonna like me today. Or are you taking the resources and the blessings that you're getting right now that you can fortify? I'm gonna tell you something. When the shit was upside down, 2020, 2021, we didn't skip a fucking beat. We didn't do shit. We didn't worry about nothing. We didn't worry about nothing. I didn't worry about what the cost of shit cost. I didn't give a fuck. My friends and family didn't have to worry about it because I got them. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. Because I had planned all this shit years in advance. If I wouldn't have done it just because I had money, when you went to the store, there was nothing in the fucking store. People buying fucking cartloads of fucking toilet paper like you could eat that shit. I had already stocked my house up with fucking toilet paper, a whole year's worth of toilet paper. I didn't just start buying toilet paper because the fucking people were falling out dead in China. I planned for that shit. Just like when people see bad weather coming. Snow's coming. What the fuck do you just say, snow? Go to the store, buy all the milk, buy all the eggs, buy all the fucking bread, because there's no more chickens. We're never baking bread anymore, and cows stop delivering milk because it's going to fucking snow. People are creatures of habit. And some of the replies I get when I talk about these things, I had paid members that I was just sincerely pouring in concern for them, saying, listen, something really bad's coming, and you just make your house ready. Buy some non-perishable food. You're going to eat it anyway. You're going to eat it. I'm not asking you to go fucking waste your money, but buy shit you're going to use. That way, if you can't get to the store because maybe shit town comes to your neighborhood and it gets dangerous, do you want to go fucking grocery shopping in Minnesota right now? How the fuck do you feel about going to the Walmart? You need some bread and milk? It's going to snow. Where are you going to get that shit right now? Amazon ain't coming to your fucking house. So you got to think, how can I make my life less stressful? How can I have a wall of mitigation keeping the majority of the bullshit within my reason, within my capabilities? How can I put a buffer between all the bullshit that's coming? And if it doesn't come, guess what? My grocery bill is fucking cheaper by the way I did it. You're saving money. You're not wasting it. I had so many fucking people email me. I'm so glad I listened to you because we couldn't get shit. And I had to give the extras that I had to help my friends and neighbors because they couldn't get it. They didn't listen. But they were so thankful. They were well prepared. Come on, man. When you haven't had it happen to you yet, it's easy to walk around thinking, it's somebody else's problem. It ain't going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And the younger you are, the more likely you think that way. I would have been thinking the same damn way at 20 years old. If I would have heard this guy talking to you right now, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. You're full of shit. But I grew up. I had a family. I watched what it's like to care about someone other than myself. Right now, all of you just give a fuck about just yourself. And you can't see past that because all you care about is yourself. You're young. You're selfish. And that's normal. That's a normal thing. That's the frailty and silliness of youth, the foolishness of youth. But when you have children that you have to take care of, you have dependents, you have friends that you fucking love like family, and you try to tell them, hey, look, you're wasting money on all this other shit. You go out to the bar every weekend between you, your wife, and your kids. You're spending $250, $300 in fucking booze. Why don't you take just half of that and just buy some stuff for your house? Just buy it. Just get yourself the brother. No, fuck all that. It's done. And then they're crying the fucking blues. Hey, Michael, can you help us out? I feel like an asshole. I think to myself, what could I have done better to make them have understood the level of urgency at the time when I was talking to them? I look at it like I failed. But now because of all the shit that's gone through the last couple of years, I don't look at it as I failed. You just don't want to fucking do it. You don't want to grasp it. You don't want to take responsibility. You don't want to prepare for anything. You don't want to make yourself self-sustained. That's not fucking weakness. That's not weakness. That's strength. I don't have to leave my motherfucking house for 3.5 fucking years for nothing. For shit. I could be a hermit. I would never have to walk out there and have the sunlight shine on my fucking skin for 3.5 years. I guarantee you, not one of you motherfuckers listening to my voice could ever say that. You can't do it. You need something. You need something. Something's going to have you go out the house for something. I don't have that. Do you have to have that much? No. No. But shit, at least a month or two. At least a month or two. Whatever you can afford, whatever seems reasonable to you. Because remember, you're fucking trading. If they only disrupt the shit around you, but trading's still available, how well are you going to be able to make decisions risking money with the shit going on that's in Minnesota if that was happening in your fucking neighborhood? Think. How the fuck are you going to manage sleep if shit is going on like that around your neighborhood? You're not. So what are you going to do if it comes to if your town is affected by this kind of dumb shit? It's in trading books. People are not doing this on podcasts and on their live streams because it's not fucking comfortable talking about it. It seems lunatic fringe. But what are you doing as a business owner by not having some kind of a protocol in the event that you have disruptions like that? It's not just disruption in terms of you don't have data coming to your computers to trade because the stock market is shut down. Disruptions are anything. Anything. It could be people fucking up your neighborhood. It could be you getting attacked. You could be harmed. Anything. It's not just limited to one thing. I'm just saying, hey, look, think about these things. Think about it.
Michael,
It's
for the first time, and you know this, how it wasn't long ago, there was like an outage at a server and the markets were actually down. That was a very reflective time for all of us, where within our lifetimes of something that had not happened. And it's like, okay, check a box. Now we got to really think about if this can happen again, right? And I'm just saying that's what, to your point, that is reflexive, something that has happened that everyone can look back on and just realize how powerless they are to, servers down, markets closed.
Yep.
Hey, I'd like to chime in if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna backpedal and just go back to listening. I just felt like I had to come in here and say something. I'm sorry.
Well, Michael, I think you brought up a good point. I'm Gen X. I'm just a couple years younger than you, and I'm I pay attention to what's going on. I've lived life, and I look at things a little differently too. I've had everything taken from me. I did 5 years in prison. I literally have had my fucking world ripped right out from underneath me, taken my kids from me, and it wasn't because I was a criminal. I got in an accident, and the law fucked me over. So I know how the system works, and I know what's coming, and I think people really need to wake the fuck up, seriously, because they're going to put us on a digital currency. You're going to have a digital ID. If things get bad enough, you're not going to be able to trust your own neighbors if you can't go to the fucking store. If they know you have food, they're going to come knocking on your door, and if you don't give it to them, it's going to, like, things could get that bad. And I'm not saying they are, but I think the whole point here is prepare yourself. Look at history. Look what's happened in history.
Exactly.
It repeats itself over and over and over, and it's a typical playbook. They're turning. There's a general in Japan that wrote it, or China that wrote a. It was Japan, I think. Wrote a book about how the takeover of America would happen. There ain't no country that's going to come in and take over America. They turn everybody against each other, called color division. And that's what's playing out right now. They're turning everybody against each other. They're using racism. They're using, just take a look. It's right, like Mike said, it's right in front of our faces. It can't hit you any closer.
It's good that
It's called a color revolution.
Yeah, it's good that we get disparate voices, people that are kind of just waking up to what's happening in front of us. I mean, one thing I found very interesting, and Michael mentioned before, but just the powers and the controls that are indeed Luciferian, and really, really understanding that the division in the power, the control is within the divisiveness and within the division. So if you can create division within the masses, then you are then controlling. So when we look at left side and right side of fill in the blank, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter geopolitically where we are talking about, because the location is not a variable here, because it's the same formula independent of location. If you've been abroad, you see where and how they sow division amongst people, and they make the infighting about race, about politics, about religion, and the actual power and the actual control is just usurped and taken. And we're seeing since, I mean, I was born in 77, and I just want to say I know a lot of folks that were born around 71 or before 71. And when you really look at the gold standard, and when you look at what the American dream was before 1971, and then what it was afterwards, and with the introduction to fiat currency and what we indeed trade with, in what the markets are, then you can really start to conceptualize what was the American dream, and where and how fiat currency has, come to be, and where and how this illusion and the runaway inflation has taken place within fiat currency. And we all are a part of it, and it's within our lifetimes. That's the craziness about what we're talking about. All of this is happening at such a velocity, at such a speed, that this is happening within the eyes in front of us. And as a collective, again, we are witnessing what is happening here. And for some younger folks, you're going to be like, I have no clue what you're talking about. But there are older folks here that can anecdotally stitch together what was, the Nixon initiative, and the petrodollar, and the power of what was the power of the petrodollar, and the agreement with Saudi Arabia, and what was even the invasion on Venezuela, and the taking of these resources, right? The usurpation of resources in strengthening the petrodollar, because of the amount of profiteering that has occurred in decentralizing the dollar, quite frankly. right? And us as speculators within the marketplace, as we're studying the intermarket correlations of each other, we're seeing the weakness of the dollar, and where and how these entities are weakening the dollar, and where and how there is profit being taken from the force of weakening the dollar. But those of us who make dollars are witnessing this inflation. And
I can
these.
tell you, I can
Yeah,
tell you
go
what to
ahead, brother.
watch for.
Yeah, bro.
There, the spike in oil. Japan is a huge thing I'm watching right now. The reverse carry trade. They start pulling money out of the bonds and treasuries out, and
Well, I'd be
it's
curious to
game
see where
over.
all of this money from the metals that just went, where and how it's fortified back into different markets. I'm very curious within where and how, specifically the bond market that you mentioned, where and how what has been taken from the metals, where and how it is strengthened and what are we talking about? $15 trillion, $5 trillion? Where and how is that going to be reallocated into these industries into the future? I mean, the most interesting part of the conversation, this is for me the most important thing, and I want to reiterate this one more time. We just dealt with a black swan event, the very first domino of many dominoes that are to come within this year. And the idea is preparedness and being able to see the future before it happens. And we're all speculators. So we all get this collective hive energy of, hey, what the fuck? We can really see what's happening. And the idea is preparedness. The idea is sense of urgency. The idea is to help one another. That's why we're
So
here.
the
222,
one
I
thing
like the
I,
time. Sorry, go ahead.
the one thing that I'm doing to prepare myself, Michael brought up, what if you can't trade as a retail trader? So I'm involved in the crypto market, and I know Mike doesn't like it, but I've seen where things are going, and I've prepared myself for it. Mm, And so what I've done is I've formed an LLC to create a shell, and I'm working on doing that as a trader, so I can become an institution, like a like a institution trader. You see what I'm saying? And if you go back and look at history, when they when they repossess gold, they repossess gold from the public. They didn't repossess gold from corporations. And that's one way that a person can protect themselves is you can form an LLC, a corporation, and you can hold them assets in that corporation, and you're protected that way as well. And I got to say, ICT coming learning ICT has been a godsend for me. I traded. I learned how to trade from around the dark pool. I see dark pool. I know how to trade around the dark pool, but
Hey, I
the
see dead people. You see dark pools. That's awesome.
I but I but this I was in this trading group, and she taught us how to trade around dark pools, but nobody could ever. It was where's it going to go? Is it going to go up or down? I don't know. And I was noticing things in the chart that people couldn't explain what they were. They're like, "Oh, that's nothing." Well, it's a volume imbalance. I was noticing this stuff before when I was trading. I'm like, "Well, this happens off of this little thing, and I don't know what it is." And when I come across Michael's stuff, he was speaking my language, and I seen it. I'm
El
like, "Holy shit!"
lenguaje del mercado. Hey, Chris, I love you, buddy. I got a lot of folks here. I'm going to tap in. I'm tapping in with you, and I want to hear from other folks the conversation if you don't mind. I'm not being
No,
rude.
no problem.
If you don't mind.
No problem.
All right,
Thanks.
brother. Much love. Much love. I got hands up and a lot of folks here. I got over 46 people that would love to speak. We have over 10 folks here. If you would like to speak, pretty please put your hand up. Chris politely had his hand up. He came in and interjected and added his 2 cents. He brought value and we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chris. If you're listening, if you're getting value, pretty please share the space. Trader Roundup. And next up we have Gordo with his hand up. Who was next? I think it was was it Chart Vision NYC? Was he up next? I know Gordo. I got a couple of my New Yorkers here.
Hey, Hey, kid, let me just say
Yeah, jump
something
in
real
here,
quick.
bro. Jump in. It's all good.
Two
I'm
seconds,
just trying to.
real quick. I just want to remind people, listen to Michael. Michael is speaking with experience. One of the reasons how I was able to pull my family through the whole COVID scenario was because I listened to Michael. Okay, I positioned myself in metals early. I was able to have that money when I pulled it out early. Yes, I did, but it helped me sustain my family through the whole COVID 2020 through 2023. You know what I'm saying? And that was for listening to Michael when he mentioned this whole, when he was pointing out in his space on that YouTube channel when I first heard it. And I tell you to this day, I get goosebumps, because he was so spot on what was to come. And I thank him for his guidance, because I would have went through a lot worse scenario if it wouldn't have been for him during the 2020-2023 whole COVID scenario. And and I'm grateful for that. And when this man comes up here and tells you, listen, or do you have your home ready? I suggest you should listen and make the right arrangements for that. And that'll be all.
I love that. Keep the conversation, keep it flowing. I appreciate everybody with their hands up. I'm going to go in a row here. I'm going to go who I got on my chart here next. Chart Vision, NYC, Big Black Candles, then Maxor, then Batman. Oh yeah, that Batman. All right, Chart Vision, NYC. You're up first.
What's up, Kit? What's going on? I appreciate y'all having me. And I just want to come up and I want to ask some questions just for everybody in the space to think about. And the first question I want to ask you is, after you've gotten your $1 million payout, you've stocked up your home, you've gotten your farm, you've got your guns, you're able to protect and preserve your family and your community. Do you have the comforter? Do you have that higher power discernment that is going to be the one thing that leads you and guides you on how to use those resources that you've built? And so I do not care if you're a Christian. Let me tell you something. My father was the head deacon. He was the pastor's right-hand man. I went to church from Sunday to Sunday from the age of 2 years old until I was 18 years old. Okay. And if you're any other type of religion, they call the comforter the Kundalini awakening. It's there too. But I want y'all to entertain me for 1 second. And I want to read y'all a couple of scriptures. Okay. Uh, This is John 14:16 through 17. And this is Jesus speaking. And he says, "And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth within you and shall be in you." Okay. And this is John 14:26. "But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you." And then John 15:26. "But when the Comforter is come, who I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me." John 16:7. "Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you." John 16:13. "Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth." This is the important one, y'all. John 16:13. "Howbeit, when he, the Holy Ghost, the Comforter, The Spirit of truth is come. He will guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself. This ain't no ego thing. But whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. You won't. Let me help you understand something. Once you have all of your success trading the markets, and we're talking about, oh, when they take it away, we all know. Listen, we can smell blood in the water. Okay, we got one of the greatest teachers and coaches in market history that he's turned us all into sharks. We can smell blood in the water, but do you have the comforter? Once after you've gotten your stacks of silver and gold and copper and whatever else it is that you think will protect you and your family from the things that are to come. I don't care if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, there's a Kundalini awakening in your religious teachings. Are you seeking that higher power and that higher discernment? I don't believe anybody on this planet Earth outside of Jesus Christ has ever had the comforter. Truly, look at what we've done with the earth, what we've done with the planet, to the extent that we have to fight over created money just to survive. We're the only beings on the planet that have a system of currency just for survival.
Have you seen have you seen that one meme? It's like the aliens and they're like talking to each other and they're like, I don't know how can these
Yeah,
guys be
yeah.
$38 trillion in debt? Like, who do they owe money to? Like, how do they owe money? Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about?
yeah,
Like,
like yeah, the
it's
aliens
kind of
couldn't
funny. It's
understand
like,
the concept of
who
money.
do we owe $38 trillion to again? Like, wait a second. I mean, you make a good point. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
I do appreciate you having me that allowing me to say that, and I just want to give a honorable mention to ICT's IPTA teachings, because January 2nd is the start of the quarter, and Monday, February 2nd is what? A 20-day cast forward. And we have what? Metals that do what? Make a high before the start of that cast forward, gives us displacement up. And come Monday, it did what? It decided to do what? Fill some inefficiencies into discount, right? So when they say you can't time this thing, the IPTA students know what we were seeing and what we were expecting. This is
Ooh,
the
I like
greatest
it. The
future.
IPTA.
This is the greatest
I
future.
like it. The IPTA.
Okay. I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all allowing me to speak. Michael, thank you for everything. God bless you.
Much love, buddy. Much love. Abigail, you got your hand. You're here, and I would like to hear a female perspective. What's your Abigail McCullough? What are your thoughts and 2 cents on the conversation?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Well, kind of, sort of.
Hello?
Hold on. Let me see. Hold up. Keep talking.
Can you hear me?
I think we can. Yes. It was
Okay.
garbly networky for half a second, but I think we're good.
Okay. If it starts getting bad at any point, just let me know. Um, I thought it was a very interesting week. ICD, I just wanted to say a quick thank you for all the teachings. And I've been following you, I guess, since 2022. And um, I guess the question posed of what are you going to do when all of the world kind of starts to see what's going on, I don't necessarily have an answer for other than trying to prepare my family as best as possible. But one thing that happened this week that I thought was really eye-opening, that just made me more thankful for ICT concepts, was, excuse me, my mom's boyfriend is an engineer for, they make the parts of Toyota and different kinds of car parts. Engineer has been working for the same company for 35 years and was told this week that 2 days after his 35th anniversary with this company, he would be let go. He's 63 years old and is now going to be out of a job because of budget cuts for a company that's very important for car manufacturing. And he's an extremely intelligent guy and, like I said, an engineer. So it really reiterated the point that Michael makes frequently is that your company does not give a shit about you, no matter how important or how long you've been with them. And trading really is the one mechanism that you can't beat it. And it doesn't, I'm sorry, answer your question, kid, of necessarily how I'm preparing myself, other than just trying to hone in on the fundamental concepts of what ICT teaches, and not trying to force anything in the market. So thank you for
So for
having me.
you,
I'm
so for
sorry if
you,
that audio
no, no,
was
no,
bad.
real quick, that's great. So for you, you're saying it's like that there are things that you could do more in the way of preparedness, but your head is down, and you're really just focused on, just trying to find your way within the market day by day. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like for myself, and for I'm sure a lot of other people, I'm 27, so we kind of grew up in this, social media era where, like, Michael talks about, people just, they post their life that they can afford, and then you compare yourself. And for myself, it's just eliminating distractions. So the only social media exposure that I have is of whatever Michael's saying, or Kit, I follow you, so whatever you're posting, thank you. People are watching it, even if I don't always engage with it. Like, it's helpful to just, listen to, and kind of be tuned into people that know what's going on, even when I don't. So yeah, keeping my head down, and just like not spending and comparing myself to people that, like, I don't know their financial situation. I don't know if they are even prepared, and I can't live my life comparing myself. And, so yeah, I hope that answered your question.
No, it does wholeheartedly, and it brings around full circle. I think kind of the point of us being here, and that's the broader perspective, and trying to get better and trying to be better, and just kind of dealing with the everyday lifedness of life. In what you're even saying, like, we're just trying to add a little bit more perspective. We're trying to bring a little bit more context to what you would be doing already. But all of us are going to have our head down in the grind, going to work. I mean, doing what we got to do. We got to be that mom. We got to be that son. We got to be that wife. We got to be that husband. We got to be that person for, and within that family that we're dealing with it. And oftentimes that can just become a grind, right? We can kind of become complacent with it. And it's good to step back after
Right.
events like yesterday, right? After things like what happened this week in the market. It's good to take time on the weekend to
Hmm.
stop and reflect,
um,
right?
right. One thing too, I'll say, and then I've spoken a lot, so I'd like to get other people a chance as well. As I work as a nanny, so I trade in the mornings, and then I work like in the evenings after school and stuff like that, and then on the weekends. um, but the family that I work for, they're very affluent, and they're tuned in to what's going on. And they're preparing, and these people have a net worth, like I have no, like, I don't know how exactly, other than trading, people make that kind of money. But um, I'm like hearing more of just what they talk about, and it's like, very, generators, bunkers, stuff like that. Like, those words are being floated, and to me, it's like, okay, I you don't even know about trading, or like you do a completely different line of work, but you're talking about this kind of stuff too. I should be paying attention. Um, so yeah, that's all I kind of had to say. But thank you for having me on here.
Rock on, Abigail. Nice having you on. Nice having female perspective here. We've heard from Abigail and Amy here. We've got my co-host Pippi Banks here in the his ales. We've heard from Gordo. We've got a very good, I think, thoughtful conversation going on. We got my boy Cheese in the house. We got some hands up. Joe Trades with his hands up. Batman's here. Batman, what's going on, Batman? And then we'll go to Joe Trades.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm
How are
doing
you
pretty
guys
good. How
doing?
about yourself?
Good, good. Nice to meet you,
Well,
everybody.
nice to meet
I
everyone.
was
The hotly contested SMT question a few weeks back on Trader
Uh,
Roundup with Michael.
yeah, I
I
had those
remember
questions,
you,
but I don't
buddy.
know
Let
if
me tell you. I mean, you brought
yeah,
up a shitstorm talking about SMT. Let me tell you, I still hear the reverberations about it
yeah.
today. I got people that just get
I
I tell you
probably
what, there's a lot of people that get fired up about SMT. I did not
yeah, I'm
realize it.
probably gonna
It's a very,
yeah.
very hot topic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a big, yeah, it's gonna be like a confluence that I usually use. And it's just like if it does, there's no sympathy, I'm
Well,
not
I
gonna enter
remember
in
you had
trade.
brought that
It's just
topic up
the
several weeks ago, and it was such a hotly
yeah.
contested topic, and Michael jumped in because it was something of interest and it's something he had heard a lot about as well within the community and the community perspective. So anyway, that was then. This is now. What are your thoughts and 2 cents on the conversation we're having?
Yeah, I probably gonna like myself is just I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. I'm gonna go a little bit off
Well, we'll see.
stuff,
We'll
but
see.
just keep
I'll
in
try and
line
keep you
that
guided, my friend, on topic.
yeah, because I'm just Gen Z. I'm not that old, and I don't want to talk about a lot of
No, we don't want
politics
to talk
because
about
I
politics
came from
either. I want to know
where
what you would do
yeah
without trading. How about that?
yeah. I came from the poverty like third world country because I didn't know anything about forex over there. Like in the third world nobody knows. You have to feed yourself, you have to survive, and the thing that you have to do is just like learn a skill. Because I had a shop in the corner of the street and selling stuff. That was my skill that to survive in the third world country. But when I came here, I was able to work, and I introduced trading, and just that gives me opportunity that I work for myself now. The thing is, when I after 6 months, it's just like these things hit me a lot because I'm so curious about a lot of things in finance, and I studied deep. Because when I heard about like all institutes like the banks, if you know about the hedge fund and the top 1%, you have to get qualified. You have to have more than $250,000 to join a hedge fund to invest. Not the regular people can do that. And that hit me a lot because it's the same thing of trading. Like what happened that next time they're going to say, oh, if you do have less than $500,000, you can't participate in a trade. On that time, you have to learn a skill because I'm a kind of a mechanic guy. I fix the cars. In the meantime that I'm working in my forex and saving up money, preparing myself in the future, like when ICT talks, I listen a lot of his playlists that people put in YouTube in 2020, 2021. He mentioned a lot of them, and I listen all of them. And I remember when ICT talks, I thought, oh, now we're gonna see the jobs disappear with AI. Now we're gonna see, oh, if a black swan happened like yesterday, what you gonna do? And the thing is, for myself, this year when I started, I came down from the mini to micro. I'm trading micro right now. When the price action happened yesterday, if somebody realizes that was OTE at 7 o'clock, I was like most of the time I don't even enter in a New York because it's so volatile. You have to have so much risk on. Like you have to respect the risk. IC talks all about how you have to create your thinking and trade with the so much risk, respecting the risk. Basically, when I enter my trades, if you perspective, you can do 101. If you trade the futures, you know that these platforms can allow you, help you to don't risk your own money and using the other people's money. I never, like, I can't open an account in United States. Some of regulation, you have to be US citizen and stuff. I don't have any live account, and I've been in trading 2 years and profitable in the last 1 year. I use the pro firm all the time. I'm using the compound interest that I see taught us. I'm adding accounts with $50, $80, $100. I'm not mentioning the pro firms, but you can figure out there's so many pro firms you can copy trade, but not risk on. If
Okay,
I
okay,
lost
buddy. You're
$500
talking
without
about props, which is great. But what's the question?
uh, my,
No, well,
my
no. What's the
question
question that's
about
been proposed to you? Because I hear a lot about you trading prop, not about what you would do without trading.
uh, bec- because the when I'm doing myself, a lot of people like I can't post anything like because of some issues. I'm calling the markets, but when people, some of my friends that is so close to me, when they ask me about the stuff, I tell them to respect the risk. And if you do 101, if you risk 100, you can do you can make a 500, 1,000. And right now in the last 3 months, I'm focusing a lot of about the stop loss. Where you put your stop loss, it's so important. I have found a lot of ways that you can put your stop loss. One, if you have
Hey,
Ken,
like
bro, we
less
Ken,
not
than three
talking
PD
about
rate,
that shit, B.
you
Yeah.
have to put the last three PD array. You have to put where you put your stop loss. The SMT stop loss. There, I have
Hey,
more
hey,
than
real quick.
six,
Let
seven,
Michael speak
five
real
stop.
quick, buddy. Batman,
Okay,
come
I'm
on.
sorry.
Michael, you were laughing.
Uh,
I want to hear more about your laughter here.
I'm sorry if I'm interrupting. Like I'm kind of like ICT.
He
You're the
knows.
man, man.
Calm down.
You're an
Let's listen to him.
mentor.
Calm down, Batman.
listen. I love your enthusiasm. I love your energy. I absolutely love it. But this has absolutely nothing to do with our conversation today. Like there's lots of
Thank
okay.
other
you.
opportunities
Uh,
for what you're talking about.
Okay, got you.
That
Sorry about that. I'm
that's
saying
okay.
I'm just like sometimes I get off the topic, and now I see this correctly.
Well, last time
The
I think I
uh,
did, but he's very nicefully doing it this time. So it's all because we love
yeah.
you, buddy, and it's not in a bad way. So it's all good.
Okay. The topic of the day, if like myself, I'm thinking right now to get into fixing the car because I'm buying sells the car at the same time. Like I buy salvage car and sell them for the marketplace because I have a mindset that I want to work for myself.
So you
Now
buy salvaged
the if
salvaged
market,
cars? Is that what you said?
I buy
I like
salvage
that.
cars from
So
auction and
you're an
sell them in the
entrepreneur.
marketplace with a good like that's the whole point
No,
of
you're
us.
right.
Like
No, it's a
everybody
good
who's
point.
listening
It's a
in
good
here,
point. So you're buying
everybody,
and selling in a marketplace,
everybody,
very similar to what you're doing on a screen.
yeah,
That's your point, right?
that and in a part time right now, I'm thinking like go to take a job to just like because of my English, I don't know the parts of the course like some of them that now I wanna like apply for the job just like 2 days a week, once day a week, to just work and learn the names that we call it in my language to in English. Then if the market happens like I use the prop firm and the prop firm sometimes it goes down. That means like you can't trade. When you can't trade, what that means? You have to have another scale to build on to provide for yourself and your
And
family.
that's what you
That's the
do
whole
with
point of it.
the buying automotives, buying and selling automotives, which
Yep.
is awesome.
Yep.
So
Just
Batman.
and yeah.
No.
And the last
Okay,
point that
so
I
the
want to
last
do,
part, right, Batman?
the last point I do, I receive a lot of like messages because I'm not a mentor. My mentor is ICT. I can't teach them. I can't like take a responsibility to have the skill that I have to teach it for them because I'm a student. Student can teach, and for that reason, sometimes I don't post anything online. I keep everything my private, and some of the people is complaining and curse me out.
Okay, I love you, buddy. I muted you. You have ADD and you're just rambling and talking, and I love you. I really, really do. I love you, but calm down, okay? Cheese, jump in here, pretty please.
What's going on?
Not much,
I
buddy. How
think
you doing? We're just
I'm doing
keeping it
good.
going, keeping it flowing. Batman's my boy, but we're just gonna keep it going.
Yeah.
It's all
Bro,
good.
we're gonna have to change the name of the space to Preppers Anonymous, okay? Just keeping it real.
What?
Um,
Keep
Preppers
preppers?
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you know, uh I'm kind of experienced with, unfortunately, what it is like to have the lights go off, because that's the real nutshell of the conversation. We're not really talking about trading here. right?
We're
This
talking
is a
about black
deeper,
swan events that are kind of like occurring in
yeah,
life all around us, and
yeah.
trying to be more cognizant about what's happening around us, and then all of us trying to add that extra awareness to each other so that when we
Well,
do look
the
out the
realities
window.
of the environment
Right.
that we're in, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
Thank
you
you.
really, some of us are old enough to have experienced life a little bit. I know there's a lot of younger folks that are, hopefully, I hope there's a lot of younger folks, quite frankly, in here, listening to some people that have been around a little bit. And, I've seen some shifts and changes throughout time, and understand there is a pivotal, just some sort of paradigm shift that's occurring right now. Maybe we've seen it in history, but I think a lot of us certainly, if you're younger, you haven't experienced it, and even I haven't experienced some of the things in history. I'm just not old enough, right? Um, that being said, like, the topic of the conversation is what do you do, right? And these things have happened. I think I'm fortunate in this regard to have experienced life in this manner, from South Louisiana, and I've had numerous natural disasters affect me. Right, I'm sure most people haven't had to go through the effort of worrying about where they get their food, water, fuel. Right, literally taking weapons because you're kind of in a chaotic environment, to go get gas, to go get food, right? Like now, all of a sudden, you got to take a fucking gun because people are dying at the pump, right?
Thank you for bringing this up.
They're
Thank you for
literally
bringing this
getting,
up.
yeah, buddy, they're literally getting killed, in a natural disaster environment. I lived through Katrina, experienced that. The government did not come save you, and when they did, they came and shut the town down, right? By the way, no food, no water, right? Nobody's coming to save you. There isn't shit here. You have 3 days on maximum at a grocery store if it's available, food supply. That's if it doesn't get all hoarded and taken, right? So your food supplies very, very just diminished extremely quickly. You're generally stuck to what you have in your house. Potted meat was a thing for us for Katrina, which was fun, but no, these things happen, right? Might be a microcosm from my experience, might be anecdotal. I've had it happen numerous times though, where I've had to learn to understand that nobody's coming to save you when the shit kind of gets real, right? Um, and to be prepared. And so, without going on like a long, what to do, or how to prepare yourself, they're very simple things that you could do, to try to have just some sustainability, right? And a few $100s goes a long way. You could go get some flour, right? Just literally to make bread if you got to, right? Shit that'll sit on the shelf for a while. You can eat it if you need to, you throw it away. Who cares, right? You buy it every year, whatever. You get some rice, you get some beans, right?
Can I
Uh,
ask you a question?
yeah, buddy.
The first time you had an experience like this, where the hardships and reality of you just don't have normal life right now, what was the biggest thing you discovered that was nowhere near what you expected as an importance, but since you didn't have access to it, you felt the weight of it not being accessible?
Um, the biggest, say that again, Michael. Like, what's the thought here?
Okay, I, what you're describing, what you started off with, is it was I was hoping I was going to hear more from, because as a teacher, as a trader, as an educator, like I don't learn from anybody in regards to that, but I'm absolutely putting my feelers out for this topic for me personally. But I'm
Yeah.
also kind of like inspiring other people. I'm not trying to say I know everything. I'm not acting like I know everything. I'm hoping, because this is where I got my best insights from people like yourself down south, when they had hurricanes, when the hurricane went up in there and destroyed, ripped up Tennessee and part of North Carolina. Some of the things that I would have never considered, for instance, like a manual can opener. Like some of the people that discovered that they had lots of food, but they had to take it out there and grind it on
You got to
concrete to get
grind
it
it on the
open.
stone. Yeah, to get it grinded on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the ground, right? Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't think about that. I just figured, well, I'm going to buy lots of canned goods. I'm good with that. But I didn't have manual can openers. Like I had just one of them. Because and what's going to happen is the one that you have, as soon as you need to open up your food, it breaks.
It's gonna
Then you
break.
got to go out there
Yeah,
and start. Yeah, yeah. So I got a lot of my good insights and things that help fortify my own preps, my own way of thinking from people that actually went through stuff that I hadn't had the
sure.
experience through yet. So
Yeah,
what you mentioned, how like it's scary when you know everybody around the neighborhood, they're running generators if they have them. They want gas, and if they see you're
fuel.
getting gas, they're gonna try to take that shit off of you. So you got to protect yourself, and you got to be aware of that stuff. I didn't think about that either. Like it was alien to me, and so people were explaining that to me. I'm like, wow, like that. I never would have imagined that. That's how it's like. It's like a fucking war zone.
I can't express what those times are like, other than they have changed me fundamentally. And like I kind of mentioned before, I feel like it's a gift, Michael. Like just in terms of being able to understand that these things can happen. My biggest worry is that we do live in a society that is, first of all, has not experienced that type of atmosphere, for one. That's the first thing, right? For two, the ability of how quick things diminish, right? And that people that are used to the society we have, where you can get things quick, fast, and in your face, and not having preparation, right? I worry about those things. And again, I have the benefit of being in an environment that has shown me that the other side is always there, right? There's always a potential that things can go wrong, and for me, I have invested some things, but I'm going to speak to it just from another level. Like, yeah, I have the home generator. The thing cost me like 12, 15 grand almost. Actually, it was probably 16 in total to get all that done. I did that 2 years ago, after the last hurricane we had here, because, yeah, bro, I'm at the gas station and people are getting murdered, right? Like, you want to talk about chaos? Like, that's fucking crazy, right? Um, so I decided to fix some things, so I didn't have to worry about going to get gas, right? That most people will never have this benefit, right? And to be fair, if this can be brought into another conversation. It doesn't have to be that, like, we're talking about the whole, like, where we perceive the powers that be of bringing things. Like, we are living in a world right now where we're seeing, a tick up in solar events. You could have a CME that completely wipes out our power grid, right? Like, these are rational thoughts, I believe, to have some preparation underneath you. And it should be very basic. I like the notion of just having a couple of months under your belt, with the simplistic needs, right? Like, for crying out loud, you could go buy you a survival kit that allows you to start a fire, right? With a flint. Like, these are very simple tools, that might seem like, okay, this is crazy talk, but how hard is it to spend a few bucks to provide these type of backstops to make sure that
So what do we
if
talk about
anything
here?
ever,
We talk about provisions. We talk about dried goods. We talk about first aid equipment. We talk about generators, alternate
yes,
power.
yes.
We talk about what else? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head.
Seeds.
Anybody?
Like you need to go far, you get seeds, right? You
Seeds are a
really
good
need
one.
to go, you just literally how to grow crops, right? That's why I was saying, like, something simple as I call it bullets and bread. All right, that's the world we're living in here. All right,
That's what we're
you got to
talking. That's
have the
what we're
ability.
referencing
You
here. We're
got
talking
to
dry
have.
goods and
You got to
provisions,
hopefully.
and we're
You got to
referring
hopefully
to
make some
these
bread
events.
and
Yes.
have some bullets. And just the small things that most people overlook. Actually, Michael just brought up like a dope one, right? A fucking, how to open a can, dude. Right? Like, that's crazy. Most people never think about. So the idea and the concept is, please, don't shy away and say that these are conspiratorial type of thought processes, right? Because quite frankly, we live in a world where a natural disaster does occur and you're put into a situation where you have to, sustain yourself, right? A life straw. That was another one I went out and bought a few years ago, right? Like, probably 2 years ago, when I saw, that Russia's talking about doing nukes and shit. I'm like, okay, this is different, been around a long time, something's going on. Like, let's buy a few things and make sure. I don't know. This happens, right? They held in Florida hostage a water a treatment plant, right? Through a cyber attack, right? So this thing, literally, you could have your water supply shut down just from something as mundane as that. We do live in that world. Cyber attack, right? Life straws, very simple, right? some rain collecting buckets. Um, all of those things are very inexpensive, and just thoughts, to put people on track of kind of what's being laid down here. I appreciate this conversation. Michael has helped me actually make money in the markets through his concepts, and I'm forever in debt in that regard. But this conversation is probably more important to me, of just the thought process on for how, especially younger folks, to really accept this kind of mindset and not sway away from it, thinking it's conspiratorial, and really understand that you do live in a world that something can happen at any time, and just to prepare yourself for it. And yeah, I'll leave it there, Kit. Let you bring in some other speakers, buddy.
I mean, phew, well, great stuff. We got Dom here, we got Maxor here, we got Joe Trades here. I mean, we got lots of folks here. Keeping the conversation.
Hey, Kit.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm anxious to get to the other people talking. But I would like for you to tell you, like, take inventory for a moment in your own personal life. Like, what are like the top 5 things that would be major concerns for you if shit hit the fan in your area, and say the power goes out. Say the power goes out, you got no internet, and you can't connect. There's no internet access because the grid in your area goes down, and you can't trade. Like, what would you do? What would those conditions
Oh,
warrant
get
from
some
you
two-way radios,
as a
by the way,
response?
and also walkie-talkies. Also, a couple of
Yeah,
nice tools to have, right? That way you can communicate with your family that's hopefully nearby, right? The bad side of this
yep,
conversation is you can't fucking save everybody, right? That's the
exactly.
bad side of this conversation, right? You can hopefully do what you can to prepare everyone around you to understand that these things exist, right? And hopefully they accept them and bring them forward into their own, homestead, right? But the reality is that there's a lot of pain that gets inflicted in this type of thought process, and understanding that we unfortunately, you can only do so much. But something simple again, a walkie-talkie, right? You get a couple of them,
Yeah.
you hand them out to your family. You get some batteries on the backstop, guys, like just a boatload of batteries, right? All right, I'll shut up.
No, I love that. Homesteading, answering your question, something else. Homesteading, what are you doing in the way of preparation for food? I love where Cheese was talking about seeds. Like where you live, okay, you don't have any power now. Okay, where are your provisions coming from? Do you have enough provisions? Are they safely stored? Are they going to get wet? Again, can you open them? And Michael's bringing up very good points. Like, what would you do with no power? All right, this isn't even about trading anymore. Do you have the correct and the proper provisions where you live? And what are the top 5 things that you could and should be thinking about? Again, like, I mean, when foraging, do you even know how to forage? Do you know how to start a fire? Do you know how to collect food around you? Like, do you have to go to the supermarket?
Kid, I got a BB and a what is it with the slingshot. I fucking bought a
Yep.
slingshot and BBs just in case I don't have enough bullets, right? And by the
Yep.
way, I want to try and use those first anyway, right? Knock a bird, a squirrel. I'm talking real deep shit, dude, right? But
Yep.
guess what? It fucking sits in the closet. I never touch it. That's the best world I live in, right?
Less than $100, you got all the BBs and pellets you'll ever need, and a gun you don't have to clean every day.
And then you save
Hey,
the gun for if you really needed the gun, and you're using the BBs to get the squirrels and the rabbits and the small meat
That's right.
provision, small game provisions that you can get around. In the idea of foraging, right, which was your first, like your question to me intimately, I instantly start thinking about how to forage. I mean, I live in the country, so it's like, where can I find food around me if I can't have safe store of my own, or where and beyond my own safe store? And to your point, I mean, BB, that, I mean, that's more, I love that point. I mean, the guns and the bullets are even more valuable. And then the BBs can be used for small game, and then you're not
I got a
destroying the small
cast
game at the
net.
same
I
time.
did that
It's
one, right?
genius. I
Like if
mean, you guys are
hey,
literally
you live
playing
close
3D
to
chess here in the
water,
conversation.
you live close to water, I got a cast net, right? I live in South Louisiana. I can walk 50 yards away and just literally sustain myself with a cast net. Um,
hey,
Yep.
kid. I added during 2020, the whole COVID situation. I went and I bought some long-term survival food buckets. Bought a couple of them. They got 15 years lifespan on them. Was it a bad investment? Absolutely not, because it's worst case scenario situation, right?
Wait,
and
what is that? What is that? A bucket?
it's like freeze dried food.
Okay.
Worst in case of an emergency, you just you add water and stuff like that. It's like,
Okay.
come on, easy.
It's so okay. Okay. So
Like,
they're
but they got
provisions. They're
breakfast,
they're
they got
provisions.
lunch, they got
Emergency
dinner.
provisions. Okay, I got you.
Right, and they really cheap, right? I bought them when before people started jumping in on them because I started prepping late 2019, right? Um, yeah, I spent a couple dollars in them, and right now they're pretty cheap because nothing has happened. You got 15-year lifespan. You throw that in your storage bin, you spend $500, $1,000, whatever it is, right? And just leave it there. Worst case scenario, right? There's no food. There's just like Cheese was mentioning. They got 3 days shelf life in supermarkets worth of food. CME, an explosion happened, a bomb blows off anywhere around the world. We going into martial law automatically. Just take these necessary precautions, just in case. Yeah, that's not what you want to eat, but if there's nothing else, man, that's all we got.
I have students that were in Tennessee when that hurricane came right up in the middle of our country and just leveled everything. I mean, to see the video they sent me that never made it to to the news, like you don't see it. Like these videos are showing houses literally floating away, people up in the trees, scared to death they're gonna get washed away.
This was in the
And
Appalachia, right? Is that
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
referring to? There
yeah.
were even like they were near what were there some kind of mines and or some precious metal resources in that area? Maybe I'm
Yeah,
conspiratorial.
North Carolina,
Yeah,
Asheville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And
No. So that's what you're referencing. Okay. Right on.
to hear the stories and the things they had to do just to live, like they didn't even have a tent, like they had nothing. They're literally just huddled up underneath trees because their house is washed away. Like,
Dude,
what
you
do
don't
you
know
do
how
in that
bad that
situation?
pissed me off that the FEMA's saying we don't have money,
Right?
right?
Exactly.
And you're seeing this event play out simultaneously. And then
Mm-hmm.
guess what? How much have you seen about the repair of that whole, literally that whole, it's just an amazing swath of land that was affected from that. That was an incredible event. And
Yep.
it's like it fucking didn't happen, man. Now, granted, to the people there, it happened, right? I don't know. I haven't been there. I did live in Knoxville. I'm very intimate with the area, but it's like, wow, like, no, dude, that really swells me up that you see that singular event. There's other events that it's like it just didn't happen. We moved on, right? But those people are really still affected. It's probably Hurricane Katrina took. Dude, I mean, to get this infrastructure back, right? And that was a major city. You're talking about shit that's sparsed out all over the place. Dude, they'll nickel and dime them back to repair for the rest of eternity, right? They had to do shit here to get it back up and running. Really swells me up that that's like almost a forgotten area, but that's just it's like a fucking word vomit here. The fact that you brought that up does kind of get me PO'd,
It's
man.
sickening. Yeah. Can you imagine the people just 48 hours before that happened, and you ask them, "Hey, look, what do you think the odds are on poly market that we're going to be affected to this degree by the hurricane that's going down in the Gulf of America or Mexico, whatever you want to call it now?" They would have never imagined that. I would have wagered there was no way that was never going to happen. Never. And look at the damage it caused. Like, and people sit here and they're thinking, has nothing to do with me. I don't have anything to worry about. I'm an island unto myself, and it's never going to happen. I have nothing to worry about. This is ridiculous. This is conspiratory. It's nonsense. This is fear mongering. This ain't fear. This is preparedness. It's so that way you have things in place, so that way when shit does get harder, if it does, I'm not saying it will, but I mean look at it around. I mean look at what's going on. If you're trying to think about managing risk, you have to be settled. You have to be calm. You can't be hopped up and fearful of the outcome because you need this to work because everything else around you is falling apart.
But
That's what
Michael,
I'm
the,
trying to
the
push
hot
on.
take out of that is understand. And again, I've been fortunate to understand this a long time now, right? That was the most recent, one of the more recent, these things happen, right? But that one in particular should remind people that the government ain't coming to save you. That's what that story is really, really about, right? That at some point FEMA's out of money. They're telling you they ain't got no fucking money. That's crazy, right? There's all the money that rolls around through our economy and outside of this whole nation, right? and you can't funnel up some money to get these people square, rebuild their infrastructure. Like, it just blows my mind. But it's the reminder that comes around that people are secular, they don't get to experience it, it doesn't happen, right? But dude, when the shit lands on your doorstep, you want to have something to kind of just make sure that you're square just a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Much
just
as
a
get the
little
fuck
bit
out
of
of
diversion.
Dodge. Like, if you got it, you gotta leave. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
what that is, where you go, but that's that happens too.
yeah.
I had to leave, but whatever.
Dom,
Well,
jump
see,
in here.
Yeah, man, let me real quick. Such important conversation, man. It's good to hear people like Cheese that can share with us what they've been through on
Yeah, we
things
got a
like this.
great vibe in here today, bro.
Yeah, man, it's happening. Yeah, I got a countertop water distiller, right? Um, I don't consider any of this stuff conspiratorial. I mean, I stopped calling it conspiracy theory when I saw loose change and started going down the rabbit holes on 9/11. And what I wanted to add to the conversation is, like, particularly if you have limited resources, right? It's an easy thing to obsess over, like, needing to prepare for all this stuff, and like the fear will eat you alive, man. Michael just touched on that. You do this stuff so you don't have to be as fearful and know you've managed risk and do what you can, even if you just do a little something every Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm gonna get a little something towards this effort. But man, when you start looking and say, "Hey, that don't look like a cloud," and you're like, "Damn, they're spraying on us," and next thing you know, you're worried about reptilian overlord pedophiles, and like you just feel so out of control. Basically every conspiracy theory except reptilian overlords has been proven now. So you got to be careful where you draw the line and just understand what you're going to let bother you, especially, like I say, if you have limited resources. As far as the market shutting down, like, I started trading in 21. I basically learned to trade on a cell phone in an RV that I was living in with my dog for a year and a half. Kit, you were mentoring me there for a while on that too, and ICT since 22, 23. Big help. So thanks to you for all that. But if the markets go away, my biggest like suggestion to anyone is have a skill, man. Like, I don't really worry too much about these things. Maybe it's because, like, if you're born in the financial crisis, like, how bad can it get? You know what I mean? You remember what it's like to be poor, and you survived then. We survived before, the market will survive after. But know how to do something. Like, somebody's always going to have a leaky roof or something. They need body work, like, how to give a massage, or like teach somebody to martial art, or whatever, play the guitar. You know what I mean? They can take the cash or put us on CBDC or whatever it may be, but I think there always will be bartering and all that. But know how to protect yourself. If you have a gun, practice with it. Can you get it out in time? Can your wife get it out of her purse in time? Do you go to target practice? Like, don't just think you got it, now you're covered on that. Yeah, and take care of yourself, man. Like, I've been buying bottled water here, like the glass bottles of water, $35 a case, because now we got microplastics and all this shit. But like, that's my main message, man, is the worrying will kill you before the shit they're trying to kill you with. Unless you got the jab, then you might be fucked. You want to look at how to get that fixed. But they want us to worry. You know what I'm saying? They want us to worry about it. So let's be easy with all that and do what you can to prepare yourself, and that's all I got, man.
I mean, that's a really good ad. That's a really good vibe for sure. I mean, Francisco, pretty please jump in. We are Trader Roundup, guys. Just really, really quick. This is the ICT follow through. Thank you for being here. We just heard from my boy Dom. We got Cheese here. We got Michael here. We got my boy Gordo in his house. We got the New York contingent here with my boy Pippi Banks co-hosting in his house as well. Trying to get my boy Juicy up here. Keeps cutting in, cutting out. We got lots of folks wanting to come in. We want to get you in here. So hopefully, pretty please be patient. If you could add to the comments, if you have a question, I will be perusing through the comments. So pretty please do that if you don't mind. If you'd like to contribute, we'd like that there. And want to keep the conversation going. Francisco, you're up next. What do you got?
Hey guys, happy to be here. Very thankful to be here. I got like two things I want to say. I'll be very brief. Yeah, and I'm a little nervous. Obviously, there's 1,000 people in here. So the first thing that I want to say is that that something that hasn't been discussed much today is the ability to connect with others. I think that, if things do go south, like we were talking about, our ability to de-escalate any conflict and our ability to round up friends, neighbors, family is much more powerful. And I think it's almost like a church. And I have an anecdote from COVID, because I was very upset at some of my family members, my cousins, because they took like a trip to Vegas and then they came back and they were hanging with like family members. And like, yeah, I understand, that we can be stronger if we are like, exposed to viruses and all these things. But it's like, you have people that are older and you want to be careful, just like be careful. Like, I don't care what you think about the virus or whatever, but I do care about the safety of everyone, like especially our older members. And I did a little meeting with everyone and it was kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, family meeting. We used to have those. My family is kind of big. I have like 10 living uncles and aunts, 7 aunts and 3 uncles. And then I have like 32 cousins, between cousins, nieces, and their children. They're like 32. And I was
Coño,
like,
marico, tú eres latino, por supuesto.
yes, I'm Mexican.
Yeah,
And I
no, I know.
won't
I'm just playing. Go ahead.
I won't name where, but anyways, I actually lived like in the country off the grid growing up, and I have like tons of skills. Hunting, prepping water. Prepping water is such a big deal. Like whether you're getting it from a well or from other places or rainwater. Skinning animals like pigs and goats and stuff like that. But
Oh, he brought up
anyways,
water tablets. You can get some of those for the cheap too. If you
What?
got
yeah.
That's huge. Important
that's a
add
good
to the
one.
combo. Huge.
Yeah, that's huge. And so back to resourcefulness, like we need to be able to connect. And I feel like a lot of this stuff happening in the moment is drawing us, like the draw, ha ha ha, at the moment is to not be connected, to be separated. At least that's how it feels like. And I think it's important to create bridges, like that lesson from Michael, building bridges. But I think building bridges in our community. And if you don't have family, like I have an arsenal of like a little army of family members, mm, like friends and neighbors. And I always welcome everyone around me. I try to be in that resonance of love and acceptance, and acceptance in the way, like it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you bring to the table. What matters is that you are you, and like having that, I think opens up people in a different way, or they approach you in a different way that's not harsh or intimidating. And I feel like when you have that in you, you're able to have people have that in them, if that makes sense, because I think that's really the key. Like it doesn't, if everything, urban spaces decline and governments fall, what do you have? You have a bunch of people left, and what we want to be able to is teach everyone how to do the things, like, and if you have a skill, pass it on. And I think that's kind of my contribute to this conversation. I think that's important. Yeah, get your guns and prep and whatever, but yeah.
Francisco, what you're adding, I think, is a probably particularly for those that live in the suburban environments. Obviously, any environment, but particularly in suburban, very important to have some connectivity to the people that live directly around you. I mean, obviously that's not for everyone. We do live in a society where people don't like to answer the door or the phone, and but it is, that's one of those that I think people would probably be a little lackluster to do. But if you have the ability to maybe know a few of your neighbors, like it goes a long way, right? And again, even from experience, like I can't tell you how much, that's come up to play from my particular experience in life,
Mm,
in certain
nice.
situations. And I would echo your thoughts there. To
Cool.
just get to know a couple of the neighbors, man. Like it goes a long way. Because if they don't know who you are and something goes wrong, it's obviously not good, because if you need something, they need something, communication, any of those things. It's just nice to have that smaller secular society, to exist. So yeah,
Yeah, it's an
I love the
infrastructure,
thought.
and I think it's like a skill that you have to develop. And like, let me be completely honest, my neighbors and people that I frequent in my neighborhood, they have no idea what I do. They know a side of me, but they don't really know me. Like, I know a lot about them. You know what I mean? But I don't give them my private information. They don't know my second name. Like, they don't know that I'm involved in markets, and they don't
Yeah,
know
it could
like
be super
my
basic. Like I
family.
live I live right there,
Yeah.
bro. Like been living here. I know you live here. Just wanted to say hi. It could literally be that. Just who
Yes.
who are you? This is who I am. Nice to know you. This is my name.
Exactly.
Here's my number. Maybe if you want to go that far, right? Couple
Yeah. I
my
have two
neighbors have my
numbers.
number, right?
I have
Yeah.
two
So
numbers.
it's like,
Yeah, like it's all about just connection and like being aware of who's around you. It's almost also like defense mechanism. But I mean, definitely from the resonance of love. Like I love everyone for who they are. It's a gift to be here. Life is a gift, and all I want is for everyone to self-realize and actualize. And what that looks to me is like along the lines of what Michael believes in. I think there's like a path to this life. It's like a weird thing, but it's definitely like a way. There's a way, and that's what I'll say about that. But yes, community infrastructure, develop that skill. So that's what I have about that. Now, Michael, I wanted to ask you. Maybe you saw my comment here on the space, but I wanted to ask you more about like a tactical approach, or like it's a question. You've mentioned more manipulation coming into the market. That kind of stuff. Like, are there arrays or frames or things that we can look at? You have all these like entry arrays and like arrays for a draw. Like, are there arrays or frameworks to spot manipulation? I mean, I know seek and destroy is like something we look at. You posted that drill that you do this last week to see if things are as you expect. I don't know if like looking at the coupled markets, the correlated markets not being coupled. I don't know if like the nearby contract spread is like another way of looking at it. I don't know if you would like to share any of that stuff. I mean, that's kind of my question. Thank you, Michael.
As far as manipulation, I mean, you're never going to fully know it all. Like you just you aren't going to be able to know everything. And when it's fortunate enough for us to see it in price action, when it's sharing a lot of this previous candle space where it overlaps a lot, I call it fuzzy, when price looks, it's not spread out and given fair value gaps and imbalances and stuff, which is what I want. I want to see that's clean price running. If price is not doing that, it's spending a lot of time sharing previous candles ranges or the majority of it. I'm very reluctant to want to trade in that environment. I will wait. If that means I got to wait until the following day or following week, that's what I'll do. But as far as like PD arrays or things, the tools that help with discerning manipulation or whatnot, nothing outside of what I've already taught. It's a thing that I concern myself with a lot. When I was younger, I stressed about it and thought about like I have to have I have to have more, I have to have more. When I realized that price is going to just indicate that hey, look, It's not clean right now. If it's not clean, it's not in a hurry to get anywhere. If it's not in a hurry to get anywhere, then why am I rushing to get in there and risk money? It doesn't make any sense because the market's going to indicate by its ranges. It's going to be small ranges that expand to big ranges, and it's going to leave porous wake behind its runs, meaning there's going to be imbalances left, breakaway gaps, fair value gaps that it trades up into and doesn't fully close in. That's what I'm looking for. When the market's not showing those types of things, that's the biggest indicator, billboard sign saying, hey, look, you're probably not in the best market environment. It doesn't mean that you can't trade, doesn't mean you can't find winning trades, doesn't mean you can't make money. Okay, because I know some of these individuals that listen to me say, I traded this, look what it's doing. ICT never would have done this. It's all this dick measuring. Like, I can do something when ICT said you couldn't do it. And all you ICT traders, this, that, and that thing. They're all trying to find themselves as a counterparty to what we do. And that's unfortunate because we're not out there trying to say, look, we're counterparty to you. We're out here just doing what we do. And it's just winning. And we know when not to engage. That's a huge advantage in and of itself. So by knowing what the price delivery looks like, what's the hallmark of low resistance liquidity run conditions? It's open ranges, large ranges that are elongated, and it leaves porous wake. That means when it starts running lower, look back through that price run. Is it leaving pockets open? Is it leaving imbalances open? Is it going into the imbalances and leaving some of it open and continuing on? That's a healthy price run. That's exactly what we're looking for. So by keying up on the characteristics of when a market is not showing those things and not just simply trying to figure out, okay, ICT said the easiest thing to do and the most important thing is to know where the market's going to go. Yeah, that's great. But in concert with that, the next step is, are we in a market that is conducive for a low resistance liquidity run, relative equal higher low? And that's why I'm saying that it's what we do is not complicated. Right away, if you understand what I just said, that removes so much of the ambiguity and the hardships of what people struggle with by using my concepts. Is it the right time to trade? Okay, when is that? Well, you don't want to be trading between 5 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. You can start as early as 6:30, but then when you get in 7 o'clock, then you're in that pre-market session. Things are going to happen. But is the market, just because it has relative equal highs or lows there, is the market running with porous price action gaps behind it? Is it leaving inefficiencies behind it? Is it coming back up into the inefficiencies? Is it completely overlapping those inefficiencies and staying right back in the previous range it just left from? Because if it's doing that, what is it indicating? It's high resistance. So if it's high resistance, sure, it can go to those relative equal highs or lows that you think it's going to go to. But are you willing to absorb the risk in this current climate? Or would you say, I'm just going to wait until the opening bell at 9:30 and see what the first 30 minutes does? And then see if it indicates a willingness to want to get somewhere quick and leave very clean price action. Because if it's doing that, it's indicating it wants to move, and it won't be done just simply because it goes to that relative equal high or low. It's probably going to do a deep retracement or continuation. Either or, it gives you another chance at finding the next price run. But that's to me, that's the easiest general rule of thumb to determine if you're in a market where manipulation isn't in the cards. It isn't in the minutia right now. Just focusing on that makes it a lot easier. And I'm not sure if that helped you, but if I was asked that question in any other way, that was the response I would always give.
Yes, absolutely. That's very clear. And it's not about looking at like other stuff that's outside of the market we're looking at, right? It's like more about the price action that we're getting delivered.
Right. Because, one could say, okay, look, where does SMT fall in this? Where is correlation or the lack of correlation, SMT, that type of thing? Where would it fall in that? I wouldn't even look at that unless the market's already indicating that there's an obvious draw on liquidity. God bless you, B. God bless you, B. The idea of it wanting to reach for a relative high or low, and the market's showing clean price runs. Then if it runs a short-term high or low and it's not seen with a correlated, like for instance, ES and Q, if it fails and there's a SMT divergence there, then that absolutely gives rocket fuel to the idea. I'm not looking for SMT to justify an idea of manipulation. I'm looking for, is the market poised to trade cleanly to a level that's obvious, and they're going to target it. So I have two things in my advantage already. And then it shows the actual manipulation that would be contrary. In other words, running up and make a higher high in NQ, but ES says I'm not going there when the relative equal lows are below us on both indices and the market's running cleanly. That right there is like, it's a green light go. You know, as soon as it gives you a breaker, model 2022 sell, or a first visit fair value gap, you name it, whatever mechanism you're going to use to get in there, get short and look for those relative equal lows to get tagged, and not expect that SMT to be violated once the high's in place. The first fair value gap that forms after that is going to be model 2022 entry, or it stays as a breakaway gap, either or. If it can't go up and then enter or short into it, it stays a breakaway gap. Then use a breaker, bearish breaker, use an entry on that, and then just trade anything after that. Institutional order entry, institutional order for entry drill, or a regular fair value gap short, and or immediate rebalance. Anything that gives you a entry mechanism to get short from, treat it as a premium array until it trades down to half of the range before it gets its relative equal lows. As long as you're entering in the upper half of that above equilibrium, you can enter. But once you get to equilibrium, don't chase it, don't do anything, because you run the risk of seeing, even in clean price runs, very loose like liquidity runs, it can still have deeper retracements, and you're actually entering in a time when retracements could happen. But once you get down to the lower third of it, or lower quarter of it, you don't usually see a stop run. So it's usually a real quick run to the relative equal lows. So I just gave you a whole clinic right there in a couple sentences on what you should be looking for optimal entries, optimal conditions, how to use a very short list of things, no moving parts, no long list of moving parts. And it's just where you look for things to form. And not every one of the PD rates are going to form in that price run, but whatever forms, if you understand its premise, you can position yourself. Like I just did the other day using the Zircon model. Like I was taking every potential PD array there while in the upper half of that, and just building it with a micro, and doing better than most people do when they're trading their multiple contracts, you know, on a full mini. And I'm doing it with a micro. You know, so you can make plenty of money, but you have to be patient and you have to be selective. Not only patient, but you have to be very, very selective. Just because you see a relative equal high or low, just because you know it's the right time to trade, is the market by price action? Is it showing very clean price runs, leaving inefficiencies? Is it quickly trying to go back over top of them and staying inside of it, filling in that fair value gap with multiple candles and not trying to go anywhere? Is that indicative of a clean price run? Is it low resistance liquidity run conditions if it's doing that? Absolutely not. So by spending more time looking at when the days trade very cleanly and when days are very fuzzy, when candles share a lot of the previous candles' highs and lows, or the majority of their ranges, that is indicative of a time frame and session where I'm not participating in. I will watch it. I'll tape read it. I may go in with a demo account just to see if I can get a better read on what price wants to do. But as far as throwing in real money when it's doing that, I'm not going to do it.
Wow. Okay. So, Kit, I'm sure you're ecstatic about this. I'm gonna be nonchalant about it, but that was like one of those heavy, heavy gems. Thank you,
Oh
Michael.
yeah.
Oh my God.
What I heard, and I mean, everyone hears different things, and everyone's going to understand different things, and I think that's the beauty of the conversation. And Michael just said a lot of things that were very, I think, in depth. But some of the things that I heard, Michael, and maybe you could pontificate further on this, was I heard, and you're gonna be like, how did you hear that? But I heard like speed from arrays and how quickly price is moving to or from, you know, maybe point A to point B. Like I don't know, while you were talking, just intuitively I thought of like the term velocity. And yeah, that's just what I don't know if you want to touch on that at all, or if that like adds anything. Just like riffing or thinking about what you were saying, and as in depth it was, I was like, wow, like I'm hearing speed, I'm hearing velocity, I'm hearing like the way price is reacting from these different arrays is really gonna help within the trade plan towards what we're looking for or anticipating, as you're saying, these clean price runs, and where and how efficiencies are left or not left, and whether that's a high resistance price run, or whether it's indicative towards those clean as a low is swept or taken, and as you've explained before, and enveloped, to then quickly turn around and violently go the other direction towards what would then be a different point of liquidity, right?
Well, if you recall all the examples I used to do, and I would do the annotations as of recent, the volatility in these markets today doesn't afford me the luxury of reading the candlestick, anticipating what you guys are going to be looking at and thinking, why is he going to pick that? Why is he going to pick that? Why is he doing that? I'm trying to make it as simple as I possibly can using what's available in price action. And I don't have always the luxury using the time frames. I'm using like 1 minute, 15-second chart, something like that. So many things are happening. I used to be able to, like when I was doing Forex, Forex is a little bit slower. So I could go over and type out, this is what I expect to see. I want to see speed and magnitude here. I want to see it drive aggressively. And now I want to see these long stretched out black limousines going down the 654 Club. Okay, 654 Club is the draw. Okay, so everybody wants to go there. That's the hot place that's happening. Well, whatever that is, if we're bearish or bullish, you're correct in what you were listening for is you want to see if, for instance, say it's a draw higher, just to change the tone of the conversation in the other direction. Say you think it's going to go higher. Your bias is higher. You think it's going to draw to some measure of buy side liquidity. You don't need it to be bullish for the whole day, but the session you're in right now, you think that is a suspect level, and it makes perfect sense because they've already explored going lower. We had a shift in market structure to the upside. There's a small little short-term high that's been pierced. Maybe there's a SIBI that formed on that most recent low, and you anticipate that becoming a inversion fair value gap to be long on. Price trades down into it. It's respecting the upper half. It maybe throws a wick down inside the lower half, which I love that. I want to see that right there. That's a beautiful signature right there, Daji. Keep that in your notes. The bottom line is if it leaves the lower half open, it can come back in there and lay a wick down in it. So you want to see that wick dropped in there initially, right from Jump Street, once it goes in there. Once it does that, it's proved to you by leaving the bodies in the upper half and then starts running. Now, what do you want to see after that? Every down close candle repel price higher, not see half of its body be breached with a next candle close. In other words, it's respecting the upper half of it. That's institutional order flow. That's real algorithmic order flow. It's showing you that you don't need to know the numbers of the fucking volume inside the candlestick. Fuck all that bullshit. The open, high, low, and close is going to show you everything you need to see. So if you're bullish and you're expecting that buy side to be hit, do you want to see lethargic runs off of these upper halves of the order block or the PD arrays? Absolutely not. You want to see the minimum amount of time in these ranges on the PD array, but you want to see like a little spur of energy, like it just rips away from it. It doesn't mean it's going to go straight up and start moving 500 handles from it, but when you are watching price action, the retracements that move lower will be slow. They'll be orderly. It'll be like tick, tick, up a little bit, tick, tick, down a little bit, up a little bit, tick, tick, down. So it's lower, lower, easy, slow, controlled, and it's paced. But when it hits the PD arrays and the half of the PD array, either the premium side or the discount side, to our discussion here on this example would be, we want to see the upper half being respected and not use the lower half. Because if it starts to repel price on what we would expect the discount sensitivity on the upper half of the inversion fair value gap, once it threw a wick down in it, and it keeps all the bodies out from underneath the midpoint of that, all the energy should be visibly represented by you watching the candles form. I don't need this stupid shit that people have looking at order flow, candlestick, what's inside, how many orders are buying here, the profile this and the value high and the value low, the point of control. Fuck all that. I'm watching the candlestick breathe and form. I want to see what it's doing. And is that momentum being illustrated in the candlestick's formation, all while it's still moving around? I don't need it to close. I'm watching as it's forming. You will see the breath breathe right into these candlesticks that will propel. That's what I'm doing when I was calling candlesticks out live and say, okay, now you want to watch this right here. And it's not going to go down below here. It's going to stop right here. Watch this candlestick right here. Watch the upper half of this right here. I'm telling you what is inside my brain as an internal dialogue because that's what I'm looking for. And as long as price is showing those things, that means all the little energetic flurries while order flow is bullish, it should be seeing visually. Watching the candlesticks, it should be visual. It's not simply me saying, well, obviously, if the candle's going to close up, it's going to be an up candle. And it's going to be a lot of momentum. It's not the same thing. Look at how these candlesticks are forming right now. There's a lot of volatility, and it can go up and down a lot in these candlesticks before they finally close. But are you seeing the energy of them sprinting away? And you see this down in like a 5 or 15-second chart. You don't see it, but I'm looking at either I have my phone on like if I'm recording off my laptop. Usually I have my phone. I haven't been up in my computer room for months now, but the idea is I have a 5 or 15-second chart watching the same time frame that I'm recording. If I'm doing an example to share with all you, I'm looking at the lower time frame second chart, and I'm watching to see if that lower time frame chart is creating little fair value gaps that stay open, because they're like micro gaps. They're acting like breakaway gaps, and it's after trading into the discount sensitivity portion of the PD arrays. So the upper half of every PD array that I expect is something to be bullish, I'm then measuring what is that lower time frame 5 and 15-second doing. Is it leaving little tiny little micro gaps on those time frames? And if it does, that's telling me order flow is absolutely bullish. I have nothing to worry about, and it's not going to trade down in the lower half of these levels. That's why I'm right. That's what makes me confident to point out these things beforehand. That's why I do it, because I'm looking for things that I know work. They're not gimmicky. It's absolutely visual. You have to be a visual interpreter of what price is doing by watching it. And you pick these skills up over time with experience by tape reading, without putting any trades on, just watching the candlesticks form, expecting them to behave a certain way. And then as each new down close candle forms, I'm watching the same thing happen. But if it creates a swing low, if it creates a swing low below the equilibrium of the run, where it draws up to the up to the relative equal highs, and that's the buy side we're drawing for. The low it formed from, that's your range. So where's Terminus? The equal highs. So the range started at the low. Measure that, find equilibrium. So we're anticipating 2 runs dropping down. What's that going to be? Market maker buy model. So the first swing low, we don't want to see that run that out. But if it creates a second one, that one can do it if there's manipulation. So if I do get an entry on, say I'm trying to do second stage reaccumulation, I'm trying to buy off of a discount array that's in the lower half equilibrium of market maker buy model. I'm seeing all the signatures on the lower time frame tell me everything's good. I enter. It starts moving in my favor a little bit. Then it stops me out. If it stops me out and goes right back above that short-term low, and it finds another discount array that's higher than where I just got stopped out at, I go right back to watching that 5 and 15-second chart, and I'll re-enter again, knowing that the stop hunt's already been done, the manipulation's behind me, and I will put my stop loss right below the stop hunt that just happened. And I could just I always walk away from it then. I ain't worried about it, because I know it's going to go to my relative equal high. And then as it moves again, I'll start building in the original position, but I enter with half of what I just took the loss on. But eventually I'll build that same position back up, and sometimes even greater, as long as it affords me the opportunity to do so. But once we get above that equilibrium price point of the run that it originates from, that means the low, then it creates that inversion fair value gap, or model 2022, whatever it forms. It's either model 2022 or inversion fair value gap. That's it. You're getting low risk entry on one of the two. That's the only thing you have to worry about.
It goes lower low, intermediate term low, or short term low. Sometimes if it's the manipulations, but we really want to see the swing low first. So a lower low, and then we're kind of counting swings, right? So you have a swing 2 and a swing 3, and you're saying there could be a manipulation in swing 2, but we want to see a higher low if we're going higher. So we want to see a lower low, higher low. And we're looking at the speed in which that higher low is happening off of that lower low. So within kind of counting not just candles, but then swings, we're really looking to see if one of these swings fractally is going to kind of be protected within this fractal distribution that we're trading. Is that correct? I mean, because we're really looking at, and speed is it's something that you've done on the 1 minute chart, Michael. And it's something that, I've watched that, and I think all of us have in awe in the mentorships in the past, in 2023 and 2022, 2024, when you have gone on the 1 minute chart and you've done exactly what you're articulating right now, in which you're explaining how a candle breathes. And what you're mentioning right now, that breath of a candle in its formation in the OHLC, and being able to see that in a sub 1 minute chart, I think a lot of your students have really revealed their own clarity in seeing and understanding OHLC, myself included, in being able to find that accuracy through the quickness and the speed and the momentum that sometimes these inefficiencies are left. But they're a tell. There's a directional tell to some of these uber small time frames I'm referencing when I say an inefficiency in this regard. But otherwise, it translates into just the price and price movement of, as you're saying, how the candle breathes. So that point, I think anybody and everybody who has the opportunity of going back and listening to this, and I would say again, as someone who has followed very much it's almost a meditative process when you get in that zone, Michael, of really, I want to see this candle do this, and then I want to see it do this, and you have very clearly, again, it's recorded. We can all go back to the tape and listen, go back and watch and listen to that flow state. And I think you have encouraged. I think you've demonstrated. I think you show your students, the community, how to kind of enter into that candle breathing, candle reading flow state from a sub 1 minute chart. So I believe personally, I am not the only one stating that you do this. I am identifying within the community that we know you do this, and we as your students try to emulate that. I do believe this, that there are a lot of folks that are trying to really get into that flow state. And it is through your vocabulary, it is through the logic, it is through the philosophy, it is through algorithmic price delivery, it is through the market maker models, it is through the high probability trade setups that you talk about. It's in the swing trade setups you talk about. Again, core content month 6, or short-term trading 7, or high probability trades 8. I mean, you talk about it throughout your delivery of material. So again, I just think that's awesome. And that emphasis for anyone who's listening, how a candle breathes, and then that speed that Michael is explaining and how he has explained it, I would suggest or implore that you go back, find the price action videos in which Michael is utilizing the chart as this classroom of price, as he's referred to it in the past. And you are learning. This is the most invaluable skill that you can learn as anybody within the community. All of this is learning how to understand the candle breathing. I love that, how you said that, Michael, because I believe it's almost meditative within someone's own academic
Once you
understanding.
once you reach this level of knowing what you're looking for, notice I didn't say knowing what's going to happen. There's a difference. Okay. I don't know the first entry I take. I don't know if that run is going to fully materialize. So when I put in my first 6 contracts, okay, if I'm going to fully commit to my average position. 6 contracts go in. It gives me something to feel the weight of. It lets me know, okay, I'm committed to this. I care about the outcome of the trade. It's not just something little. Okay, I want to feel it. If I'm offside, I want to feel it. And 6 contracts go in, and then I go in and I want to watch and see. I want to go back and say what I said again, because I don't think I communicated correctly enough. When we're looking for a market maker buy model, we're looking for the smart money reversal. The smart money reversal is, I'm usually able to see that form before it happens. I know what I'm looking for, when it should reach down here and then start turning around. In recent months, I have been surprised by how many times they'll come back for that low. And that's what makes me thankful that I'm not risking a lot of money until we get into February, because I want to get through the first month. But that low I'm hunting, I'm treating that as a smart money reversal. I may get the low, I may short the high, okay, but I'm not insisting that I do that. If it allows me to do that, I will. But that drop down into it, that low that it's forming, I already have in my mind one of 2 outcomes are going to happen. Either it's creating a model 2022 long entry, or it's giving me the inversion fair value gap. So the drop down, if it creates a SIBI there, It's nice, it's obvious, and it leaves a little bit of range off of the low of the CIBI as it drops down and creates that low that creates a smart money reversal. And I know some of you guys that aren't familiar with this, it's over your head, but the people that know exactly what I'm referring to, that single low that creates the lowest point of the price run. And it's going to target the original consolidation, the relative equal highs that we're looking for to draw up to. I'm anticipating one of two outcomes. I'm not worrying about anything else. If the price overlaps and doesn't create a SIBI as it drops down, I already know it's going to be model 2022 as my entry mechanism. So I'm going to wait for the buy side and balance, sell side efficiency out of that level I'm anticipating that low to form on. And then when it drops down into the upper half of it, I'm going long with my first 6 contracts there. Then I want to see immediate feedback. Is it defending the lower half of that gap that I just bought? It can wick down there. It doesn't matter to me because my stop is going to be below the low of candle number 1 that creates that buy side and balance, sell side efficiency, which is model 2022's entry. So I already defined my risk. I already know what I'm looking for. And as long as it's defending that lower half with no bodies in the lower half, I know I'm on side. Then the market rallies up a little bit, and then every discount array that would be used as a PD array, I want to see it use the upper half of it, show willingness to spur and run away on the 5 and 15-second chart, leaving little micro gaps that it does not come back and fill. You won't notice this all the time on the 1-minute chart because it doesn't show up. But on these lower time frames, it's giving you the little fingerprint that's saying, I got you, Dad. You're on the right side. Just hold what you got. And then I just build it every time it goes back into these little retracements on the 1-minute chart. I'm justifying it by seeing the gaps that remain open on the 5 and 15-second chart. And you don't see that because I've guarded it for so long because a lot of my students are catching up. I mean, they're getting really good at doing a lot of these lower time frame, trading mechanisms. But you have no idea the joy of knowing what you're looking for and the freedom and liberation that you get from having to no longer worry about what am I waiting for? What am I, waiting for something to just materialize that's obvious, but we don't even know what that is. Versus, I know this low should be tradable. It should start running off of that low. It went down to a new week opening gap high. It's the first return back to it. It's dropping down at 9:30. It's the first 30 minutes. It's dropping down there. It's going to go right back to that. And then it's so many obvious things that's going to take the price up higher. Plus the daily chart's calling for the move higher too. So there's so many things slated for this to go higher. So I'm only looking for justification to get in on a inversion fair value gap, or if there is no CIBI as it drops down, what is it going to be? Model 2022. There's nothing else to concern yourself with. And if you can throw a wick down into that inefficiency and not leave a body in it, there's your easiest telling you got it. As long as you enter, don't go crazy with the leverage, but very few times using that do I get stopped out. And I just start building the position. And then the feeling you get, the confidence that you get by watching these candlesticks form, and it's like I tap into everybody else's excitement because I'm bored to it now. So I love when I show the videos and I read the comments and they're like, that is amazing. Like you're marking it out, you're doing this, and it's not ego. And I'm not. Please don't take this as ego. I am tapping into things that I don't feel anymore. So it's like a photo album for me. I get to relive all these moments vicariously through all of your sense of astonishment because most of you don't believe these things are possible because you believe what the internet tells you that no one can time the market, or I'm just a demo baller and it's always hindsight stuff. You can't change most people's opinions if they don't want to learn. If they're set in their mind that they don't believe it's possible, then they're closed-minded. They're never going to see it. But I encourage all of you to do the things that I teach because as soon as you start applying them, the application of it, and the time and experience that's cultivated from doing that, you will see what I can't teach. And it can't be translated. Even if I sat over top of the charts live and explained it over and over and over and did it every single day, the only thing that would do is tether you to me and you would feel a sense of dependency because you wouldn't trust your own, I guess, skill set. You
But
won't trust your own ability.
your methodology and what you've taught, I believe, is very obviously it's apparent that, I mean, you are teaching millionaires. You're teaching people how to read the market. And I will
Mhm.
just say from all of this, Michael, and just to bring it full circle, within what you've done this year, what you've done in the past, or maybe what you do this year in the future, that flow state of you on the sub 1 minute chart, literally just reading it as you've talked about so many times. All of us can say countless times, oh, he did it in April of this month, or he did it in February of this year, and can go back of different times where you literally went and read the 1 minute chart. But I think a lot of the newer followers, a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the easy ways for you to just be you is, I'm just saying, like, it's like your students as well really, and I want to include myself, like, I really love trying to get into that flow state onto the minute sub 1 minute chart. And if you're live trading, or you're within that state and you're able to see the market, which you can clearly do with your concepts, with what you've taught, with the vocabulary, with the logic, with the with all of it, right? That's the whole point, with all of it. And it is replicable because you've taught this and more people than just you are doing it. And that's what we're manifesting, and that's what's coalescing in a much stronger form within technology, and with where and how we can utilize um community in a positive way. This is it. And people are able to see that it is real, that it is possible. And that's the listener, not just for you, as you're saying, Michael. It's like, this is just like, it's old news for you, right? It's not as a big deal for you, but you being able to do this, and then for folks to be able to see that, again, it's magical. And as just someone that gets to kind of narrate or talk about it, or also witness, and has someone who has spent quite a lot of time trying to replicate that skill set. That's the skill set, Michael, that I believe is transferable, that you have communicated on your channel so effectively. And that's how to understand the breadth of a candle. And then your life's work really explains that in so many different angles and perspectives, and ways in which to go about it. So I just wanted to add that, my thoughts.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I always wonder, like, do people, number one, do they believe they can do this? Because I have students that the base is growing and they're doing amazing things, and you're bringing the receipts and you see it. But there's a lot of other people that just want to remain private. Like, they're not like you. Like, to me, you're like an extrovert. To me, I'm an introvert. Like, I I wish I had the outgoingness. Like, you hear me talk in a space, and I can get revved up and do a whole thing. But if we were together in the same room, I wouldn't be like that. I would be quiet. I'd be Mr. Rogers all the whole time. But I find my comfort in knowing that I can present myself in a way where I want to be strong about what I'm sharing, but I don't feel that's necessary if we're in person. And I often wonder, what does it feel like when my students are able to do this and they did it all by themselves, and they see where the market's going to go, they enter into their trade, whether it's demo, who cares? I don't care about that. But that moment when they get in there, they execute, they have next to no drawdown. It goes up and starts moving towards them, and they might throw another contract on just to feel what it feels like to add to a position. And then it just starts walking towards where they think it's going to go, and the confidence, and then the doubt of, oh, is it going to continue? This feels too good to be true. Is it really going to keep doing this? This is crazy. Like, and you start looking around the room, like, is anybody else watching this? It feels amazing when it goes to that target at that terminus. Just the first time that you had that experience, I don't think I've ever heard you describe what that. But for someone that spends a lot of time in the charts like you do, and trade and participate in price runs, can you like articulate the first time it felt, what it felt like for you when you mapped out what you thought was going to happen, you engaged with it, and I don't care if it's a demo. I don't
No,
care.
and honestly, to your point, Michael, I honestly believe, and I think there's more flex within the community. The longer you can engage in demo, then the stronger you become as a trader. I
Oh,
think you've made that
absolutely.
very, very clear. I think throughout the embodiment of work, the less that you attach yourself from the results, or the less that you, or the easier you can detach yourself from the charts, which will only come through mass repetition in demo. to where you can walk away from that decision and it doesn't impact you. It doesn't affect the dopamine. It doesn't affect what you would be feeling emotionally. That ability to detach, and it's something you've preached, teached, and been advocating about within the community, and I believe is the flex. Is the flex. If you are a young trader, it is the flex that you do not utilize real money, because the longer that you can go in this demo that Michael is explaining and is asking and imploring me to give greater detail on, when you are, and I will ask that you watch, any of you listening, my live streams. Okay, I try to emulate what Michael has implored all of us to do. He has implored for years for all of us to step out. And as Michael is saying, I am a little bit more extroverted, right? So I happen to not be afraid of trying to follow the assignment, right? But in the vein of literally going into, I personally, the 15-second chart, I really like it, but I have more peace on the 30 personally, right? So I like the 30-second chart. I've spent a lot of time on all of the sub 1 minute time frames, from the 1 to the 5 to the 15, and I know and I understand the reason why the 15 is the 15, but I still personally, there's something about the 30 that really resonates with me, right? So I like the 30. And when we're talking about price runs, and to your point, Michael, like a really good substantial trade, when you're able to be on a sub 1 minute chart, and the market is, as you've defined, or as we define as a community, in high definition, in which you're able to see every niche detail, every inefficiency, every wick, the body, the formation of the ratio in which the wick forms to the body. And then the next candle, and the next candle's body ratio within its formation of the wicks. And then it's not only just the ratio of the body formation, and then also the wick in relationship to the previous candle as the range is forming fractally, either from that 15-second or a 30-second or 1 minute. And 1 minute's very comfortable because it's a 1-to-1. And you taught that also very, very clearly in understanding price, time, square, the 1-to-1 relationship of time and price, which most folks don't really totally understand, but you learn that over time. Time and price, 1-to-one's relationship with each other, and reading again, like you're asking Michael the skill set that you've conveyed to us, the listener, and I, as being the more boisterous, extroverted student of yours, get to externalize and explain voice for boisterously what I believe is important. And that is that what you are saying, the breadth of a candle, the ratio, the size of the wick, the size of the body, the inefficiency that forms within the body, the displacement, the size of the wick. And as these are daisy chaining and forming on each other and creating what then becomes structure, and as you've talked about so clearly, microstructure that then creates a macro structure. And you go back to the 2022 mentorship in episode 12, and we talk about intermediate term lows, short term lows, long-term lows, and where and how those form, and the price signature that falls in line with the market maker models, and where and how you can utilize the Fibonacci to get inside onside with where and how you want to read price. And to your point, Michael, the intimacy and understanding the clarity, the breadth of a candle, and that price run of, hopefully, the more you desensitize from being able to add contracts to, being able to be 100% neutral to the outcome, but still be able to watch literally generational wealth print on the chart based on a good decision. Michael, you've talked about low drawdown trades. I try and utilize my live stream to show people where and how I'm in quick and we go, or I'm out quick. So, I mean, I'll take a lot of, I'll get chopped up a lot, and I don't mind getting chopped up, because when it's going to go, it's going to go. And that, I'm looking for that speed, and we need that speed. And you've really talked a lot, I believe, through the breadth of how you talk about a candle, that speed on the arrays that we want to see happen. And if you don't get that speed, then there's a good chance you're not, it's not the right time. You're not on the right candle. You're not in the right, it's not it. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say, Michael. I mean, hopefully I answered your question again.
I believe that majority of what many of my students leave comments, or they'll say something on X after I share something, or they done a trade and they say, I felt a lot of fear with this and I had second thoughts or concerns about it, going to where I thought I was going to go. It was very hard for me to hold to that trade. Um, I'm convinced that if individuals spent more time with these lower time frame charts, not that they have to stay with that as a model or that's what they're going to always use as a trader, but it gives them lots of canvas work where they can spend looking at price action, how it, the ebb and flow, reaching for liquidity, inefficiency, back and forth, all day long. You could literally dozens of trade setups on a 5 and 15-second chart using a 1 minute chart for your draw on liquidity. And you can micro scalp that thing to death all day long, up, down, all over the place. That's not an invitation for you to go out there and run up a huge bill with your broker with commission costs, okay? Or just go, sugar
No, it's
hungry.
be a student and take a semester and actually be a student in demo and do exactly what you're saying, right? I mean, really, it's like take a semester and study. I believe a lot of your content, Michael, is really taking, if we're talking about a master's degree, if we're talking about 18 months, taking, 6 months to a year in that high frequency price delivery. I believe you have more than enough content that affords the student the ability to do that. And then hopefully once they, I believe very similarly, you start from that high frequency, very low time frame ability to see fractal delivery, that then you can zoom out into these higher time frame arrays. And then you could really follow the, core content month 12 high time frame, economic calendar down through your weekly to daily, and as you're teaching now with the wicks and the importance of grading wicks within a daily intraday range.
That's a lot. You say a lot in a little bit of time. You cover a lot of stuff. You got your bandwidth is broad. It's very fascinating to hear you talk about my stuff. It's like you can say a lot of things in a very short span of time. I'm not sure if the audience picks up. I mean, and you're talking my language. I get it, but I often wonder myself, like, are you are you able to be received by the audience, because what you're saying is a lot, and that's what makes me the trepidation I have when I talk, and I talk slow. And if you ever listen to me at 2 times the speed, I have this cadence, the rhythm, and how I speak. It's very noticeable when you listen to me at 2 times the speed, and I've never heard that in my speaking because I just never listened to it. But I'm very careful about how I say certain things because I'm trying to answer as close as I can to textbook response, because the books that I'm writing, I want everything to match what I've said in the past. I don't want to have someone say, well, you said this and that other thing, and it's going to cause confusion and it's going to cause doubt. And I don't want a million emails sent to me when people get the book and read it or whatever and say, well, this is what you said here and there. So I'm very careful about what I say. Now, when I'm speaking passionately, and I usually blue collar language, there's no pausing, there's no cadence there, except for just like what you just say. When you say what you say, it's like full speed ahead, bulldozer. You're comfortable with what you're saying because you know it, you lived it, you've been dealing with it. But as the person trying to make sure that I'm teaching it in a way where I'm not going to cause confusion, I'm very selective on how I say certain things because I want them to match up to what I say at later time. When you have it in text, that's it. That this is what I meant to say. I may have said it incomplete, not by intention, or I may be have admitted. Like for instance, when I was doing my space earlier, when I was talking earlier, when I was listening to other people in this space here, it came to my recollection that I didn't really make a point like I wanted to. What I was going to say was, I think that all the stuff that's going on up in Minnesota is going to bleed into the summer months, and they may use this as a reason to not allow the midterms as an election like it normally would be. And that was a point I was going to try to make earlier, but because I was passionate about what I was saying, I went off rails. But when I'm talking about technicals and when I'm talking about my life's work, I bring it down real slow because I want to make sure what I'm saying is number one, as close as I'm going to have it in text and also what I've already taught in the past. But I don't want to make it hard or complicated because while it's dense, it's a lot of things. Um, it's not complicated. There are some rules, there's some things you have to look for, and you have to be familiar with certain things. So when I say, like for you, you understand right away if I say, look at a 1 minute chart. Do you mind if I basically give an overview of one of the chapters in the book?
I love it, bro. Yes, please.
Okay. All right. One of the things I talk about is running drills. And when I did a live stream last year, I was like, look, I'm going to enter trades, okay? And it's not meant to be right or wrong, but I want you to learn how to desensitize yourself from execution. And this is what I learned from Larry Williams, where he was afraid to get into trades. And I was afraid to get into trades too, because I was like, I don't want to be wrong. Like I cared more about being right than being profitable. Like I wanted to be right. So I had to work very hard. And it's still, you still hear it, and it permeates my teaching style and my character as a teacher and trader. I'm highly focused in precision because the outcome, the money is not important to me. It's the perfection of execution, the excellence of execution, the pristine entry, the lowest drawdown, the exits are so close to where the turning point was at. That's what I'm aiming for. I don't care about the money. I know how to make lots of money with very sloppy entry and sloppy holding. I can. That's the easy part. But teaching and conveying the message of precision, knowing what to look for, how to trust the price run, not being scared out of the move, not being worried about what it's going to do. The way you overcome that is you simply use a 1 minute chart. Take a 1 minute chart and use what I just mentioned, well, a few times today, is you're going to have to make a little bit of investment to get the data to allow you. And I'm not familiar with anybody else's platforms, so I don't know if it just comes with real-time data. But TradingView, apparently, you have to do something to get these lower time frame sub 1 minute charts. I don't care what they charge. I'm not an affiliate. They asked me to be an affiliate with them. I declined it. I kept the screenshot in case anybody ever tries to tell me, oh, you're an affiliate with TradingView. I'm not an affiliate with TradingView. I have no affiliation with anybody. But I say that for disclosure because I want you to understand that for you to really learn how to do this well and to speed up the learning curve is simply look at a 1 minute chart. Look for single highs and relative equal highs on the 1 minute chart all day long. As you see them form, mark them out, okay? And then you're going to look at the 1 minute for your draw and liquidity, and the 5 second and the 15-second are like your 1 minute and 5 minute. That's going to be like your entry on. You're entering on the 5 and 15-second chart using inefficiencies like the fair value gap. And what you're trying to do is you're entering think of it like a silver bullet. If you think that relative equal high on the 1 minute chart is where the market's going to rip to, and it may only be 10, 12 handles, it doesn't matter. The range has absolutely nothing to do with that. You're just trying to get a feel for every price run, every 1 minute high and low, relative equal high, relative equal low. It's going to go back and forth all day long, all day long. And you're only going to do one micro contract. That's it. You're not trying to make money. You're just desensitizing yourself, getting in, trading it to the run to the high, run out the liquidity. If it continues on, let it rip. Wait for another high and low form, and then look for the other direction and back and forth. And I was basically doing that last year with a live stream. And I was saying, look, this is what you do. And some people came in, they didn't listen to the beginning of the stream. I said, this is not me trying to make money in front of you. I'm teaching you how to do drills. Okay. So you do this for a couple weeks with no bias. You're just doing it all day long. You're going to have lots of transactions. And it's very hard for someone to do this and not feel like the outcome should be way more in your favor. By doing it this way, you're not teaching yourself to look for the trade to be perfect. You're not looking for the trade to be profitable. You're not even looking for it to be right. You're just following the procedure of there's a fair value gap and there's liquidity. I'm aiming for that over and over and over again. You desensitize yourself to the outcome. Then what you want to do is after 2 weeks of doing that, you want to apply what you think the daily charts, what direction it's moving in. And then what you'll do is, let's just say, for instance, that you think the daily chart's drawing down to an inefficiency that's below current market price. So that means what? Your bias on the daily chart is bearish. So you think it's going to reach down into that inefficiency. You still are going to be buying and selling with the same drill. Liquidity above and below 1 minute highs and lows, or relative equal highs and lows on the 1 minute chart. You're entering with the 5 and or 15-second inefficiencies. So treat it like a fair value gap, silver bullet type thing. When it starts moving in the direction of the liquidity that you see on the 1 minute chart, and if it's going lower with the daily bias, you'll do 3 micros. Anything that's contrary to the daily bias, you only do 1. Now, what are you teaching yourself? You're teaching yourself to add to positions on side and in bias. But for completeness sake and to keep yourself tapped into the marketplace and teaching yourself continuously that you don't have to be right about everything, you'll see the cause and effect, the actual cumulative experience that you'll get from when the moves are likely to go lower because of the daily charts controlling that. It's the lower time frames are parent and contingent. That relationship, they're contingent upon and subordinate to what the higher time frame charts are doing. But it doesn't change the fact that you won't see little micro rallies that go higher. So do you want to put most of your position or equal to the same position size you would do when you're trading on side with the higher time frame? Absolutely not. So by having 1 in there when you're trading against the daily bias, you're getting a feel for what it's like to be engaging with that, but you're not putting a number in terms of the outcome that's going to have any real detrimental impact on you. So you're getting, this is what it looks like when I trade against what I should know not to do, but I'm also getting the experience to see what it's like in the measurement of the resistance of that move coming to fruition and how it doesn't do it very easily. But sticking to bias by having 3 micros on the same side of looking at the daily bias drawing lower, and you have a 1 minute relative equal low or a single low that you're aiming for sell side. Again, anchored to that 1 minute time basis, entering off of a 5-second or 15-second chart, just simply looking for a fair value gap. The market drops down, creates the inefficiency, a SIBI, and then it trades up into it. Forms on the 15-second, enter on the 5-second, in case I didn't make that clear enough. That's what you're doing the whole time, all day long. You're going to have dozens and dozens of executions. And what you do is you'll see by not having a bias for 2 weeks, you have experience entering. You don't care about the outcome. You're just following the rules. There's a fair value gap. There's liquidity. I'm aiming for that. If it misses, who cares? It ain't going to do anything to you. It's not going to kill you. If you're doing with the NASDAQ, you're trading with $2 a point, and it's a demo. It's not even going to hurt you. But what you're doing is you're forcing yourself to execute. What rules? This is what I'm looking for. This is all I'm looking for. It's liquidity. It's going to run there or it's not. If it's going to stop me out, it's not going to stop me out with a big stop loss. And I'm getting experience executing. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this. And when it's forming, I'm taking it with no bias at all. On week 3 and 4, you're applying the daily bias on the daily chart. What do you think it's drawing to? Which, obviously you know what that means. It's either going to go to a higher low on the daily chart or it's going to go to an inefficiency. Where is it reaching for on the daily chart? When you apply that for week 3 and 4, doing this same drill and only doing 1 micro against that bias, but using 3 with it, then now you're going to get a measurable baseline of this is what it looks like trading against the bias with the least amount of leverage. How many times was that right? What's it going to teach you? Stick to bias trading. If you're brand new, don't try to trade against it because you'll have cold facts, data that you can support. This is what this right here tells me. Yeah, there's a few times it probably worked out well, but chances are you're not going to find that one. You're taking every single one of them that forms with this drill. You're doing a laboratory experiment where you're spending all of your existing time that's available for you to be in front of the charts doing these things. It will completely change the whole outlook of what you're doing. You won't anymore have the outcome of it has to be in my favor. I have to be right. You'll discover that it's fun. It becomes entertaining. It's relaxing because you've done it so many times before. You know what you're looking for, but here's the caveat. Because of you watching that 5 and 15-second chart, and what I was saying to you earlier, by when you're looking for price to run in a specific direction, when that 5 and 15-second chart starts leaving gaps that don't want to fill, and they are behind where you were expecting price to move from to your 1 minute draw on liquidity, that information, that insight that you're drawing from these over and over copious examples of constantly putting yourself in there, doing it, you have no idea the advantage of having that. Once it's instilled in, it's like riding a bicycle. I personally haven't rode a bicycle. Let me see, 2018. I know how to ride a bicycle.
Decade.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know how to ride a bicycle. So yeah, it's been like 8 years for me. So 8 years it's been since I've been on a bicycle. But I'm confident if I got on a bicycle, I know how to ride it. Well, once you pick up this skill, it's like it only takes a day or two for me to get back in sync with the marketplace because I know this is the skill set I tap into. But once you feel this, once you know what it looks like, it's like you have this rhythm that you plug right into. All it takes is a day or so for me to get, like if I spend the whole holiday season away from the marketplace, when I come back, I always used to tell my students, I say, look, give me a day or two. You know, I'm a little rusty right now. I just got to get the feel and the rhythm what the market's doing. That's not me saying I got to see, you know, if this stuff still works. I personally have to plug into what it's doing right now. And I watch the lower time frames. I do lots of demo trading. I push in all these different types of strategies on the lower time frames, and then immediately I get a feel for, okay, this is what it wants to do. And then I'm dialed in, and then everything I call for was behind a paywall, and they'll tell you I was in the high 90%. Every time I come out forward and publicly tell you in live streams, I'll go on other people's live streams, say, watch this level, note that. And then I'll come back and I'll show you an example where I actually use that level. It's applying same strategies that I've already talked about, but what I've said today is like a wonderful help. It helps build it. First of all, let me tell you the benefits of it. It will answer a lot of the things that people are fearful of. They don't know which fair value gap to use. You'll learn what that is. You'll know by examples of having done so many of them. You'll know which draw on liquidity is a good one right now. You'll know market structure better on a micro scale, which is high frequency trading. You'll be able to trade any market, not just NQ, not just Forex, but you'll be able to go into anything and trade it. Anything. I don't personally, and I would never trade Bitcoin, but I have done these things in demo, and I've done pretty good, you know, in the lower time frames, just to entertain my kids and say, look, you know, like Cameron and say, can you do it with Bitcoin? I say my students all the time ask me to do this, and I don't want to make a big deal of this, but let's just go and do it. And it's the same kind of stuff, but I would never want to go do that with Bitcoin. And some of the Bitcoin runs were pretty exaggerated, which was fun when I was right, but it wasn't enough for me to come out and say, I'm going to trade now crypto because my stuff works. I've never put money into a crypto trade, and I never would. But I have students that have made lots of money doing it. So I take solace in knowing that they were able to use it there. So that to me is enough to warrant, you know, a response. Say, look, don't take my word for it. My students, they say it works there. But it'll teach you not to fear the outcome. It'll teach you how to trust the price run that you're inside of. And also, here's the benefit. Here's the rub that nobody can really pick up on until you go through this process. You will feel it. You will feel the disconnection by watching live price action when there's a disconnect. When manipulation enters the marketplace and that trade is now has no chance of coming to fruition, when that happens, you'll see it and you'll feel it. The way it comes in is it'll reflect in the 5 and the 15-second chart. It's like before an earthquake happens, all these little animals and critters, they start acting crazy. What are they responding to? The little tiny micro shocks. That's the same thing that we're picking up on the 5 and 15-second chart. But then 10 minutes later, all of a sudden, shit's breaking loose and everything's shaking around and, you know, this ground splits open and you see these big cracks on the 1 and 5 and hour chart. Like it's everybody sees it now. We had an earthquake. Well, it starts on the lower time frame. So by having your sensitivity anchored to those time frames and your existing price run that you expect to see happen, when those things that you look for, the sensitivity when it's going to go higher, if it's not respecting the upper half of the PD arrays and it's exploring and laying bodies down in the lower half of them, and you break 3 PD arrays on that 5 and or 15-second chart, that's not a lot in terms of price run. And you can foresee when you should bail on the trade. And you'll have no problems just bailing. It won't be like, oh, do I hold it? What happens if I get out and it starts running? You won't feel that at all. It'll be, I'm used to this. This is not doing it. I got disturbance in the force. I'm unplugging. And it's done. You don't have any qualms about it. You don't have any regrets over it. You just unplug. Boom, you're done. Next one. Move right to the next one. And you become a machine. You're not a worrisome organic creature that's wrapped up in a bundle of nerves. Oh, is this going to work out in my favor? Because you've rushed. You watched a couple videos. You think you understand because you saw a video. You draw out your little notes and stuff and say, okay, here's the fair value gap. And it's supposed to happen between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. And it's going to do this. It's going to do that. But then now you're looking at the chart. Now you have your funded account. Now you're trying to get that combine passed. Now you're trying to get your eval, to a position where you can roll into where you can start making money. And now every fair value gap looks like a middle finger saying, come on, bitch, try it. Come on, bitch, try it. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're being taught because you haven't spent enough time doing what I just said today. By desensitizing yourself, you will know which ones are effective and correct to trade on because you've seen so many of them before, and you know what it looks like when price is running off of the PD arrays, where it supports it. You can see when it's going to start running and how it will stay running in your favor. I don't have any doubts at all when I'm in a price run. And that's why I'm adding to positions. I also know where the price will run back into deep retracements. Like, for instance, look at the example I did the other day. It's a silent video. That upper inversion fair value gap, until we break down to the lower third, or I'm sorry, lower quarter of where I thought the price was going to go, it can always retrace back up into that. Even though it was making lower lows and it broke lower and it came right back up here and stabbed up into right underneath it, that's all permissible. And you learn that comfort of not having to worry about, I got to jam my stop loss down there and protect my position. No, you don't. Who said you had to do that? Your fear said that. Your little experience, your little time doing tape reading, your little time working in demo, your little time doing drills, because you want to rush. And I understand that. It makes perfect sense for you to feel that way. I wanted to do the same thing. Just get me to the part where I'm making money, because that's the experience I'm looking for. That's the only experience that matters. Results are the only thing that matter. That's bullshit. Process is the only thing that matters. Because if you have the right process and you follow that over and over and over again and you stick to it, that process will yield a positive outcome. If what you're doing makes sense and it's a sound model and you understand price action, and you understand liquidity and inefficiencies and the ebb and flow that markets often all day long create dozens of opportunities. I'm literally telling you how to trade every hour candle. That's what that chapter is, trading every hour's candle, and how to do it effectively. So that means you can walk out there anytime today. Oh, I overslept. My wife had me doing the honey-do list, and I could not get in front of the 9:30 opening. I missed the silver bullet at 10 o'clock. So what do? Okay, what's the range still for 10 o'clock into 11 o'clock? What's unfulfilled? What's unfinished business? Where's the draw on liquidity? If it's still there, then trade it. If not, trade the 11 o'clock into the noon. You won't fear missing anything. It feels like, allow me to use this analogy, the Incredible Hulk. He's strong, he's powerful, he's beating up everybody, throws Loki around, ragdolls and whatever. When Thanos got rocked by him, punched him in his face, beat him all up, did Thanos have like, oh shit, this green son of a bitch he's going to tear me up? No, he just started whooping his ass because he knew what he could do. He let him feel it. Come on, feel it. Hit me what you got. And then he walked all over the Incredible Hulk, beat his ass. Okay, well, that's what this does for you. It gives you this confidence that from the other side of the fence, people listening to you talk about what you know you can do, what you're comfortable doing. It sounds like arrogance. It sounds narcissistic. It sounds egotistical. It sounds like you're full of yourself. No, absolutely not. It's you having done all the hard work. You pushed everything aside, all the doubts, all the misconceptions, all the bullshit you hear on the internet. Nobody can time the market. And you put yourself in front of the charts and you submitted to this process. And what you'll discover inside of 1 month, 4 weeks is all it takes, folks. 4 weeks. You will be able to find setups every 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes. Now, am I saying you're going to get a 100 pip run or a 100 handle run every hour? Absolutely not. But you can if it forms it in terms of the opportunity of range expansion, if that's what you're looking for. But I'm talking about bread and butter, pay your fucking bills, get your grocery money. Every hour, you can find a setup like that. Now, what happens when you say, this is wonderful, but I only have 1 hour a day to trade? My life doesn't afford me any more time than that. Then you do this in that 1 hour trading. And you don't worry about anything else I've taught. You don't worry about what my other students are making money with. I don't care if it's millions of dollars. They get the highest payout. I don't give a shit. That's not you. That's not an invitation for you to do what they're doing. You still have to find your niche, your place in this. And it's got to be unique. But that ain't all you'll ever be. Right now, this is what you have. You only have an hour or whatever it is, the time. Or if it's whatever day of the week you're limited to. Who gives a shit? That's what you have. That's what you work with. You have to adapt. But you have no excuses. Zero. None of you have excuses why you can't go out there and find something to replace your income. At the very minimum, half of your income. And that right down in the grand scheme of things, how everything's so expensive, it is so liberating to know that this skill set is available to you. And all it takes is you to sit down and say, I'm not going to come into this with any expectation. I'm going to see what comes from it. This is what the rules were. This is what I'm going to submit to, and I'm going to keep a log of what it is. How many handles or how many pips, regardless of whether you're trading, forex or index futures or commodities, it doesn't matter. You keep a running log of this is what I did. I went long. I did one contract of a micro contract, and it was a fair value gap here, there. And it's better for you to see this at the end of the week and reflect on it and take screenshots. Really treat it like a lab experiment, like you're in college. Okay. And I don't want you emailing me this shit because so many people email me and say, what do you think about this? Like I'm grading them. Like I don't have time. If I did that to everybody, I would never get anything done. So it's not, I'm not trying to be ignorant or dismiss everyone, but it's for you to keep this information. And then once you do 1 month of it, you're going to find that you can watch price action with a lot more understanding. You'll be able to read it better. You'll know much more confidently what you think is going to happen. It won't be perfect, but you're going to have a whole lot more understanding. And then you try it on month 2 and you compare your results with what you did in month 1. And I promise you, it will be light years in advancement. And anytime you want to practice, this is what I do. When I tell you, I used to tell my students all the time when I was behind the paywall, I'd say, look, I'm running drills. I'm running drills. What is that? I'm doing high frequency trading. I'm constantly feeding myself. Is the market delivering like this? What happens if it doesn't do it? What happens if you keep getting into these trades and it keeps overlapping the gap that you're trying to trade off of? It's going to fail, isn't it? The common misnomer is this stuff doesn't work. See, look at this. The takeaway is it's teaching you that this is what this environment looks like. Don't trade in it. Don't trade in this. Don't keep pushing into this and think that you're going to get the right one eventually. Stop trading. Wait until the afternoon or trade the lunch macro. Find a 10 o'clock lower high and run into that as a retracement. You see how all of these protocols affords me the ability to, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what the market's going to do. I don't care. I don't care. I can literally wake up, don't look at the chart, don't give me a bias, walk out there, and this is what I'm going to trade right now. This is it. And I will whip the shit out of anything else out there just with that mindset and that approach. I don't need all these gimmicks. You don't need market depth. You don't need level 2 data. You don't need market profile. You don't need order flow. You don't need all that horse shit. You don't need none of that stuff. But you need to know where the market's likely to go to next. You have to have that first. Then, is the market showing you a willingness that it wants to operate in low resistance liquidity runs? That means it's not fuzzy. It's not sharing a lot of the space in the previous candles. It's elongating. It's leaving small little inefficiencies unfilled. And if there is a fair value gap, it doesn't fully close them in. You have everything in your favor now. You have everything. If you're trading in a session time that's conducive for these price runs to be there, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 30 minutes from 9 o'clock to 9:30. Just relax and chill out. Grab some breakfast if you want to. And then at 9:30, wait for that opening bell. First present the fair value gap. If there's a gap, where do we open? Where's the mid gap? There's the right there. That's the first thing you're going to do. You see how there's rules to this? And it's just one thing after the next. This is what we're looking for. The whole day, I have a whole protocol. based on what time of day it is, what I'm looking for. This is what's going to be in the book, but I've already taught it all. I've already taught all these things. And to have, I guess maybe in a way it'll be helpful for you to have it in a book form, because it's like here it is in text format. This is all in this chapter. This is what I concern myself with in this order. This is when I do this, that, and the other thing. I guess, I guess I
It's
could use
very
some of this.
similar to what you've done, Michael, with the price action models for the charter students. If you go back and you look at how you did the core content versus how you did a few different other series versus how you structured the modeling specifically for your price action model series, it's kind of similar, I would think, just kind of incongruent how we're kind of talking about it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Maybe I purposely made some very advanced models though, because I knew I was getting leaked. But those models are awesome.
They
When the
are
criteria
awesome,
is
and
are very, very tough.
my point was is like because I'm a construction guy, and when I think of construction, I think of like a guidebook, I think of a handbook, I think of a specifications, I think of
SOP.
certifications. Yeah, SOPs, exactly.
Yeah.
So and I mean, again, construction for me, I dealt with, from engineering materials, I dealt with a lot of specifications. So what are the specifications, the criterion towards, again, your modeling, your how you see things, the context that you do it, again, like how you package it. And the way you package the price action models was a way in which you packaged it, right? The way you package what we're talking about right now as well. It's all, I don't know, it's context, perspective, kind of. And as you're mentioning, like in a book, it's I don't know, it's almost like a context, a contextualization. I don't know.
Yeah. SOP, I guess, is the
Yeah,
closest thing.
SOP is, I think, the right way of putting it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if the audience has gained anything by what I've been discussing with you in the last half an hour or not. I don't know. I'm confident that you pick up on what I'm saying. It makes sense to you because you spend a
Oh,
lot of time in price.
absolutely. And well, hopefully, here's the thing, this is recorded. And also, there are folks, I think it's good within the community that, I mean, a lot of folks understand that there's kind of levels to the game. Right. And there's
Yeah.
different levels of conversation, and you feel comfortable with me. And even though I can be maybe verbose and, as you've said, kind of extroverted with how verbose I can be in unpacking your concepts, maybe in one breath. And you're like, wow, how do you do that? Like, wait,
Yeah.
did he breathe? What the
Yeah.
fuck? Uh, but
Yeah.
but anyway, it's that kind of thing. Like, there's a level of learning to all of these things, and being able to convey something or articulate it consistently. And I know that's very important to you, is being able to convey things consistently. And then I think one good thing is, from a community standpoint, we can convey a lot of things consistently in the same regard. And I mean, one way I think I've tried to get on board with that is like the macros and the 50/10s. Like, I really love how you came in and was like, no, hold on, let's just set the story straight right now. This is what it is. This is, like, I know there's, just like you did with the SMT, just like you've done with, market maker models. Like, you come in within the community and you're able to see from the comment section, you're able to see from what other folks have said in other places, and you're able to be like, nope, wait, hold on, let's clarify how things really are. And
Yeah.
like,
Just a
SOP.
recalibration.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't discourage anyone's observations and discoveries. But if you don't keep in sync with what it is I'm teaching and how I taught it, the things that will come later on in your understanding that's already been taught, they won't dovetail nicely. They'll feel disjointed. And by having, now, as you mentioned here, a macro time, if you apply that also with your drills and you start looking for those runs on liquidity during a macro time, you're going to discover that, wow, there's so many easy setups that form just like this every single hour. You have a 20-minute little sweet span of time where, if your mortgage payment's $4,000 or $5,000 a month, it don't take many of these to get that covered, and you don't need to be doing it with 15 contracts on the mini. You can stay in the micros and just comfortably build it up a couple times a week, and then boom, your mortgage is covered. How many lives would be impacted for the better if your mortgage entirely was covered by your trading? And that's all you ever could accomplish, because you couldn't do anything better than that. You couldn't build it and beyond that. You don't feel comfortable taking more risk or trading larger than that, because a lot of you are going to discover when you are making money, you can be really good at trading, but when you start getting into higher levels of equity, you have to grow into that. Like when you put size on, it's scary. It causes a new level of fear. New levels, new devils. Okay, when you get to this level of larger equity behind you, and you're not just doing 1 and 3 and 4 and 5 micros. Now you're in a range where you're doing 25, 50 contracts of mini, if you're going to stay on a graduated dollar risk basis. So in other words, you're only going to do 1% risk of total equity. Well, as you grow, if your equity's growing up, that's going to equate to, well, what's 1% of 500 grand? You're going to be in the minis. Like, you're not going to just stay in the micros. You're going to be in the minis. So that will afford you larger position sizes if you're going to do that. Or do you say, I tried doing that. I freak out. I feel the pressure of it, moving that kind of money around, even though it's 1% of my account. It just messes with my head. I'm just going to be an income-based trader. So that might be some of you, that's all you ever do. Is that failure? No way. No way. And I'm anxious because I don't want to teach a way where it sounds like this is the only way, using what I just talked about today. It allows you to bring your own personality, your own walk in life, your own circumstances, what you have, your own financial circumstance, your marriage, your relationship, your dependencies, all these things, your business, your work, your university schedule, everything. This allows you to plug and play that. And there's no excuse. You can say all you want that you can't do this, you can't do that. But if you got 1 hour a day, you can trade.
Yep.
That's it.
And
1 hour
like
trade.
the hour, I love that. And I mean, I'm trying to follow that assignment. And I mean, we have a TBR macros indicator that goes over hourly macros. And I mean, I'm trying to show that within how I live stream as well, following that assignment. And I believe that's really great within 2026, or at least that's really good. A way I feel like in following the assignment, and I love that, is, I mean, the hourly macros are really it, right? Like, I mean, that's your daily bread. If you can get in sync with a lower time frame within any given hour, and I personally think of the macros, Michael, and I know other folks look at different things, but I'm thinking about just that within the hourly macros, and an opportunity for, as you're saying, just as you've said in the past, daily bread.
Yep. Well, listen, Guy, I have had fun today. I've had an opportunity to spend time with you, break bread with everyone, hang out, listen to everybody's opinions and whatnot. I learned a couple of things from a couple of the students and what they're supplying in terms of how they would look at certain things. I didn't get as many things as I was hoping to hear from other people, but the things I did get, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that I had an opportunity to hang out with you today and talk to you and have the audience listening to. Hopefully they got something from it. Hopefully, they gleaned some kind of a helpful insight that they can now work with going forward in the next week, and put it to test. Just get the data, pick it up, see what it looks like in your hands after 2 weeks, and then watch 3 and 4th week doing the same thing, using a daily bias. And if you want, I will tell you daily bias each day, but I won't tell it to you until 2 have passed. So that way everybody has to do it the right way with no help from me. And then I'll tell you daily bias, each day, week 3 and 4. But after that, it's all on you guys. But that way you can work with that mindset, 1 against it, 3 in sync with it, but 1 only micro contract for week 1 and 2, and get the data for that. And I think that you will be pleasantly surprised on the experience that it gives you. But I'm going to escape. I have something to take care of my wife and spend the rest of the weekend with her because she's giving me the hairy eye.
Hey, well, 4:44. I love the time. I'll
There
just
you
say
go, brother.
that.
Have a good weekend, man. Take care.
All right. Much love, Michael.
Take care.
Take care.